Welcome back, y'all, to another edition of the Giant Overreaction. Man, I am definitely hyped about this victory. For those of y'all that don't know, I live in Washington, D.C. Shout out to the homie LPG who got me some tickets last minute to this game. I got to keep the tradition alive because we've been going to these games for about 14 years straight, and man, this was a good one to be at. Y'all know how I feel about the New York Giants and these meaningless victories or these meaningless losses, however you want to call them, but being there in the flesh at that game and being able to watch our team walk away with the victory in a silent FedEx Field when I was walking back to the parking lot was amazing. So again, shout out to the homie LPG, man, for getting me the tickets. He actually blessed me with some tickets sitting right next to Nick Gates' entire family. So I'm sitting next to this lady. She's got a baby on her lap that's falling asleep and whatnot. And she's telling me like, yeah, my son plays for the Washington Commanders. And I'm like, who's your son? She's like, Nick Gates. I was extremely ecstatic to sit next to her. They showed me great hospitality. His brothers were sitting in the same row. They looked just like him. That was definitely a tough loss for them. But she did say this is a little bit of a asterisk on the side. She says that Nick Gates definitely misses New York. So again, shout out to LPG. Shout out to Miss Gates. Definitely showed me some love. It was cool sitting next to them. And shout out to my homie Chris Peace too as well, man. Definitely held me down. Him and his wife, they just, let's just say they blessed me. Chris Peace is the GOAT. His wife is the MVP. They definitely held me down, man. Got to kick it with them, tailgate with them, along with some other homies too. My homie Nick was out there as well. Big shout out to them. But let's get to it, man. This was a big victory for the New York Giants, a well-needed victory. And I know that this one's got people feeling a little bit indifferent. I've been, going around, making my rounds on social media, listening into the spaces, and man, people's emotions have definitely been all over the place. There are people who wanted us to lose this game for sure. Others that are very excited about the victory that the New York Giants got. So let's get right into it, man. We're going to talk about the Giants. They traveled down here to my home of the DMV to take on the Commanders.
Giants are on the board with 11:16 to go here in the third.
All right, y'all, so we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the draft picks. We're going to talk about the tanking. We're going to talk about the meaningless victories. We're going to talk about the quarterback. We're going to talk about this defense. We're going to talk about developing these players. Man, this was definitely a must-win for the New York Giants, man. And I'm not talking like must-win, get to the playoffs type of vibe, but if you're a fan like, myself, you want to see the New York Giants definitely get some victories, man. And we were playing pathetic football. And I think that's what's most important is that we want to see our team go out there and play competitive football. I think for some people, they want to see competitive football, right? But they don't want it to lead quite to a victory. Now, I know the New York Giants season has not been that great. They came into this game sitting at 2-8. And, things were definitely headed into the direction of the #1 draft pick this year. And they come out here against the Commanders, who we have owned. And I got to send a big shout out to all the New York Giants fans out there, because a lot of people who live either in Jersey, New York, they were telling me, we going to sweep the Washington Commanders. All the way back to the draft, people have been telling me this. And I'm like, man, I don't know, man. Don't sleep on Sam Howell. Don't sleep on this Washington Commanders team. And I think everything that we needed to go right in this victory definitely did go right. I was chopping it up with a lot of fans in the parking lot before this game, some Commanders fans, and I was just like, man, I'm kind of in this game with house money. If we walk away with the L, it's not going to bother me. I look at the word meaningless, and I go off the definition of meaningless. That's how I am. Meaningless should not mean that if you win, you feel a certain kind of way, or if you lose, you should feel a certain kind of way. Meaningless is meaningless. So for me, the victory feels great because I like watching my team win games. But at the same time, had we have lost this game, I wouldn't have been, Debbie Downer at the end of this game. I saw some Commanders fans walking through the parking lot, cursing up a storm, completely upset about this loss. So the Giants end up winning this one 31-19. 30 points in a victory for me is a win. A win is a win is a win, but when you get over 30, y'all know, as New York Giants fans, we have been struggling to get to that 30 mark for the past 5 years. Washington was favored in this game by 7.5 points. Giants improved to 3-8 on the season. Not that great, but a win is a win. Like I said, we sweep the Commanders on the year. It was 14-9 at the half in this one. The Giants, 31 points in this game, tied their season high. We also had 31 points against the Arizona Cardinals early on in the year. And the 12-point victory is the second highest in the Dable era. 6 takeaways. That's the most takeaways the New York Giants have had in a game since 2014. Now, this was not all, rainbows and unicorns, okay? This game was kind of ugly in a lot of different assets of this game. Washington won in almost every statistical category known to man in this game. They beat us in first downs. They almost doubled us up in first downs as well. Total plays, total yards, total drives, passing yards, rushing yards, red zone percentage, penalties, time of possessions. The Giants punted the ball on 8 possessions. The difference in this game was really the 6 turnovers. I really think that was it. Our offense did play a pretty decent, game of football in this one, but the turnovers was definitely the difference. 6 of them on the day. Nick McLeod had an interception. Logan Thomas had a fumble. Byron Pringle fumbled on the kickoff. Chris Rodriguez had a fumble. Darnay Holmes had an interception. That's his second of the year. And Isaiah Simmons had an interception as well. And looking at this game from the stands, they do, when plays are in question and calls are, being either overturned or not and whatnot, they'll show you a replay in the stadium, but it's nothing like what you get to see at home. So every time the Commanders fumbled in this game, it looked like they were going to get the ball back. From the replays I was seeing on the screen, it looked like they were going to go into the favor of the Commanders, but every time we were winning these challenges or, these calls were not being overturned. So it was a great thing as a New York Giants fan. It almost felt like every time they went to the, under the hood to go look at a play that we were going to come out on top. 2 players were ejected in this game, Curtis Samuel, and I believe it was Cordell Flott for the New York Giants that got ejected in this one. But the turnovers were major in this game. You cannot win a game, and this is speaking for the Commanders. You're not going to win a game when you have 6 turnovers. It's amazing that this game was as close as it was. 5 of the 6 turnovers happened while it was a 1-score game. So, they were trying to climb back in this game. And the way that I felt throughout this game in the stands was if the Commanders could come back and get that lead, after the New York Giants had 12 points, I thought if the Commanders would have went up, we were going to lose this game. But they just kept turning the ball over. The Giants did turn the ball over one time in this game. Giants scored a first quarter touchdown in this game. Big shout out to Tommy DeVito. And we're going to do things a little bit untraditional over here on the Giant Overreaction. For those of y'all that know, we put statements on the screen. If you think it's an overreaction, you can put an O in the chat. If you agree with the statement on the screen, you can put a U in the chat representing you're going to take the under. If you need a little bit more time with some of these today, you're going to definitely need some more time. You can put a P in the chat to represent the push. As we go through bits and pieces of the game, I'm going to pull up an overreaction in between each segment that we do. But the Giants did get a first quarter touchdown. I thought that was amazing. DeVito hit Slayton on a crosser route, and then he hit Saquon with an absolute dart. Like, look, I was questioning Tommy DeVito's arm talent. A couple of throws in this game, this kid was definitely showing out, and he shows that he's got that it factor, that gamer factor within him, even though he doesn't have, quite the arm talent or the arm strength of a guy like Daniel Jones or even a guy like Tyrod Taylor. Tommy DeVito is showing you that he's a gamer, that he's out there trying to win games. We're going to get to talking about, some of the sacks and whatnot, but I think that that's why he held on to the ball so much, or why he holds on to the ball so much, playing the quarterback position. This season, the Giants came into this game without scoring any first quarter touchdowns. It took us a long time to just get a first half touchdown. We did have a first half touchdown. Our first one came against the Miami Dolphins in a pick 6 from Jason Pinnock that he returned 102 yards. So, outside of that, it was struggle mode for this New York Giants offense in the first quarter and in the first half. They only had 9 points in the entire first quarter throughout the whole entire season. So just a bunch of field goals. Let me take to the chat real quick, man. I definitely want to show some love to some of the people who threw some super chats out there. And I see the gang is in the building, man. Big shout out to y'all, man, for spending your Monday afternoon, your victory Monday afternoon with your boy Awthentik. Let's start this one off with the homie Kai one time. Big shout out to Kai with the $9.99 super chat. He says, I asked for this W from your squad. Yes, you did. And they came through. This should be setting up for a nice turkey day for me. Appreciated my Giants brothers and sisters. Shout out to the homie Kai, because he definitely did say that. He wanted us to get a victory. I walked into this game. I did not see any path for a victory for real for the New York Giants. I called this one a tie on our preview show on Thursday. And, as sure as shit stinks, man, the New York Giants go out here and they get a W. Shout out to the homie Brian Rogowski in the building one time for the $2 super chat. He says, how do you enjoy the field? I didn't like it at all. I think he's talking about FedEx Field. FedEx Field is where I get to see most of my NFL games, man. So, I'm cool with it. I know that stadium has reputation for being pretty terrible over there. In this game, the showers didn't work after the game, so some of these football players was definitely musty after this. They had no hot water and low water pressure, which is equally the worst that you could get. It's literally the worst case scenario when you have low water pressure and you got no hot water. I had to deal with taking a cold shower when I first actually moved here to this crib. It took Washington Gas a minute to come out here and get my my heaters turned on and whatnot so we could have hot water. So I did take a couple of cold showers, man, and that I don't wish that upon nobody. Then you got the sewage situation that happened in FedEx Field a couple of years back where like supposedly sewage was dripping on some of these fans. But my experience in FedEx Field has been pretty damn good, so I can't complain. I love the tailgate there, and I seem to always get good seats for at least a bargain. I'm normally sitting in the end zone for under $50. The homie LPG bless me. Again, shout out to LPG for getting me that ticket last minute. That was amazing. But shout out to Brian for the $2 super chat, man. Definitely appreciate that. Let me see what gang is in the building, man. I know y'all pulling up for this Victory Monday, man. This is definitely a vibe. I see Deedon in the building, Jameson in the building. Red Fox is in the building one time. He said calling 2 games a sweep is as bad as calling 2 games a streak. That's a bar right there. Shout out to Red in the building. When I see that name Red, that makes me think of a couple of movies. That makes me think about the 5 Heartbeats right off the bat. I don't know if y'all remember the manager, Red, when he hung the homie off the balcony. Supposedly they're saying that Wale got a story like that with Diddy that some people was talking about this past week. But definitely makes me think about the 5 Heartbeats. My man Chris Peace is in the building. Big shout out to the GOAT one time. What's going on, Chris? Lewis is in the building one time. Stage in the building. Valentino is in the building. What's going on, fam? Zach G in the building. Jared Williams is in the building. We got gang in the building. Sank Zappa's in the building. My homie Gregory in the building. I see y'all, fam. Kid Tough Nuff is in the building. What's going on, fam? Hope all is well. Jay Jean is in the building. Sockpot said, mon cher, hope all is well. Who else we got in the building here, man? No Mets, no Nets, no Jets is in the building. I know this win definitely made you feel happy, bro. This win, I was feeling some kind of way walking back from the the field and going to the parking lot and whatnot, man. And this was just a great win, man. Shout out to James Jones. One time he said, what's up, Awthentik? Man, I see y'all, man. Gang is in the building. King James is in the building. Who else we got? Ben Dawson is in the... Hey, Ben, I saw your tweet, man, and you just wanted a victory, man. I'm glad you got the victory. He said, I don't believe in any victory is meaningless. You're right about that, man. A win is a win is a win. It's going down in the column as a W. We'll take that all day long, man. So shout out to Ben Dawson one time in the building, man. SHU Carter's in the building. Sockpot said, mon cher, I hope all is well. Jared Williams says he lives in Maryland. That's what's up, man. I grew up in Maryland pretty much my whole entire life, man, right on the line of D.C. and Silver Spring, man. So big shout out to Jared in the building one time. Talking Eco in the building. What's going on, fam? Hope all is well. He says, I know some fans are upset, but wins are always nice to me. Might miss out on a quarterback, but that is in Shane's hands. Can't ask players and coaches to tank. Most definitely. I think front office, you can look at the front office and they can have an approach to tank by trying to, play certain players, not sign off on signing other players that might, lend their hand to getting the Giants to more victories. But at the end of the day, the coaches got to put out the best product out there on the field, and the players are definitely not going to tank. The players going to go out there and they're going to play 100% every time. I'm one dude that never questions effort. I see it from a lot of content creators. They're like, I'm seeing lack of effort from this guy on this play and whatnot. And I just don't think that's the case, man, because even on a lower level of football like what I played in high school, right? If you go out there and you bojangling and you're not playing at 100% effort, man, you're bound to get hurt out there. You got to go out there and play 100%. It's the way to put your best tape on the field and be able to get the best results as an individual player. And I think people don't look at, like, the circumstances. Like, players got families in the stands. Like, dude, Nick Gates was not even playing in this game, and his whole family taking up a whole row of seats, man. So, like, they want to see their family members do well, or their friends, or, whoever it may be. So it's like, I can remember games like when I was on JV, it was like we could be getting blown out 36-0, and I'll be riding the bench as a freshman, and my brother's out there in the stands. And when they put me in that game, I'm like, yo, it's go time. I got to get out here and get to the bag and try to put some good film, out there on the field, so maybe I could possibly become a starter, as a undersized quarterback, especially when I first came into high school and whatnot. So I don't think players go out there and they don't give effort. They got to go out there and give maximum effort. But shout out to Talking Eco, man. He says, what's up to everybody and Awthentik as well, man. Shout out to you. I see DeMario in the building as well. My guy, Nick the Wick, is in the building. What's going on, fam? Gang is in the building. I see y'all, man. Glad y'all could pull up, rock with me on this Victory Monday, man. This is definitely going to be a vibe. I think this one's going to be pretty chill. We're not going to get too heavy into this. This is a victory for the Giants in a down season for us. We're going to talk about this game a little bit. I want to talk about some of the players that I think stood out in this game and, deserved their flowers today on this Victory Monday for the Giants, man. So we're going to get into it, man. I'm ecstatic to talk about this game, especially this one going up against the Commanders here, in the DMV area. If we're going to go out here and win one more game on the season, I'm totally cool with it being this one. This was a major victory for the Giants, and being that this is the game that I get to go to every year, and I've watched our New York Giants own the Washington Commanders at FedEx Field for the last 5 years pretty much. I think they only got one win over here, was the time when Dexter Lawrence jumped off sides, and that's about it. Now, I want to get right to it, man. Let's talk about the homie, man, because this kid, the whole damn country against this kid, including Giants fans, looking at Tommy DeVito like this guy's not going to be able to get it done, including myself. I looked at Tommy DeVito as a undersized, under-talented, just a guy who was not going to be able to go out here and get the New York Giants a best chance to win. And I think there are a lot of questions about the quarterback position now when you see two backups come out here and find ways to victories after paying our starting quarterback what we did pay him. We're going to talk about that a lot today. I got some Giant overreactions we're going to go over. But Tommy DeVito was a guy in this game, y'all. 18 of 26, 246 passing yards. He had a quarterback rating of 137.7, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. All right. I talked about the first touchdown to Saquon Barkley, the second touchdown to Darius Slayton, man. I think a lot of people got to start putting some respect on Darius Slayton's name. Straight up. Like, I know that he's been thrusted into a role in trying to be a wide receiver 1 or maybe a wide receiver 2 on this team. And that's not where where he's going to be able to shine the best, I feel like. He complained about, not being involved in the game plan last week. Some people looked at that as a way to take a shot at Darius Slayton, thinking that he was taking shots at people, saying that, he's been here and him and his bros pretty much are, they faced this kind of adversity before, and they're going to continue to face this kind of adversity. And I like seeing that kind of stuff out of young players on our team, even though Darius Slayton is kind of, heading into veteranship here, going into his 5th season as well. I love what I saw to Darius Slayton. I like what I saw to Tommy DeVito in finding Darius Slayton, okay? Like, 2 major third downs happened on that drive where Tommy DeVito hit Darius Slayton for the touchdown. It was 3rd and 9, and Tommy DeVito hit Wan'Dale Robinson for a 12-yard gain for a first down. And then right after that, they were faced with another third down, a 3rd and 1. You thinking the Giants are going to come out there and run the rock, and he hits Darius Slayton for a 40-yard touchdown. I really like what I'm seeing out of Darius Slayton, the resiliency from Darius Slayton. He had 4 receptions for 82 yards, and I think that he's a guy in a spot where the fan base was, giving him a lot of negative criticism. He went out there and he showed up. I like seeing that out of players. It reminds me of Evan Neal early on in the season, right, where Evan Neal had the statements about the fans being sheep and the McDonald's workers, whatever he said, flipping burgers and whatnot, and then you come out the following week and you really don't have a great game to represent the statement of you being a lion. I think Darius Slayton did that. Now, if y'all watch me over here and y'all watch Awthentik in the Beard, y'all know I've been talking about the regular season streak from Daniel Jones, 39 straight games that Daniel Jones has not had consecutive games, back-to-back games with multiple passing touchdowns. And you get a guy who's an undrafted rookie free agent who comes out here, gets thrown out there to the wolves. This is like getting thrown to the bear in Revenant, okay? I don't know if you remember that movie when Leonardo DiCaprio got thrown out there to that bear, and that bear was jacking him up. This is what they did to Tommy DeVito, essentially, okay? Showed no faith in him in that Jets game where they only allowed him to throw the ball one time in the second half. This kid comes out here, and he's got 2 starts, and now he's got back-to-back games with multiple passing touchdowns. I don't want to hear it's because teams don't got tape on Tommy DeVito. It cannot be that. He's coming out here and he's showing you that there is an issue at the quarterback position. I think Tyrod Taylor did that. When I did my Bleacher Report stream, there were a lot of people in the comment section when I had some comments to say about the offensive line being not as bad as this offensive line really is, right? A lot of people were like, no, this offensive line is complete garbage. They're the reason why Daniel Jones has struggled. I think it's part of the reason. But I will continue to say a decisive quarterback is the best offensive lineman. Tommy DeVito is not a decisive quarterback. That's why he got sacked 9 times in this game, and he's holding on to the ball a ton. There was one play, the girl who was sitting to the right of me, she was like, why are the offensive linemen allowing the rushers to just go past them without blocking them? She said, who's number 78? And I was like, all right, let me give you a little bit of game, all right? That's Andrew Thomas, and I guarantee you the reason why he's probably letting somebody go right by him is because they're running a screen. When you at the game, things are happening extremely fast. But I was actually filming stuff out there with my camera as well. We were so close, I could get good footage with my camera. So I went back and I looked at the replay on my own camera. And I saw, I'm like, damn, Tommy DeVito literally is holding onto the ball on a screen play to the left where everything was set up perfectly, y'all. Saquon Barkley's wide open on the screen, and he just don't pull the trigger. And then he's forced to take a sack, right? There were plenty of times in this game where Tommy DeVito, one, is holding on to the ball in situations like that, but also holding on to the ball, trying to make the big plays down the field. He reminded me a lot of Sam Howell the first 7 weeks of the season this year. Sam Howell was just holding on to the ball, trying to make plays, not willing to just, okay, give in on a second down and live to see the third down. Tommy DeVito's constantly trying to make plays. And I, as a young quarterback, undrafted rookie free agent, I can't fault him too crazy on this because he knows that his opportunities are very limited. So he's going out here trying to make big plays, trying to put good tape on trying to put good play on tape. That's the goal for a guy like Tommy DeVito, to maybe be able to find a way to get himself into a backup role next year. Maybe Tommy DeVito could be a guy, being the reason why you don't re-sign a guy like Tyrod Taylor, because Tommy DeVito's a young project you could build out there. And if he continues to show you things like this, that he can be resilient and be an option as the backup quarterback position and not go out there and look like a Jake Fromm, not go out there and look like a Mike Glennon, then possibly you keep yourself a backup quarterback going into his second year on the roster for extremely cheap, because Tommy DeVito's not going to cost you a lot of money. Now, again, he was sacked 9 times, right? But I'm okay with it when you're trying to make plays. It's the same comparison I make for wide receivers. Like, I can handle a couple of drops as long as you go out there and you make a couple of plays, right? That's how I look at it. Now, he had 7 passes of 15 yards or more, so he's trying to get the ball down the field. I love what I'm seeing out of this kid. He was the first Giants quarterback with at least 5 in his first 2 NFL starts since 1950. That's 5 touchdowns. Like, really, nobody has ever done that, right? So you got to get this kid his props. And I know a lot of people from New Jersey and from New York, they like the story. Tommy DeVito gives you the straight-up Jersey Shore vibes, be rocking the headband, got the hair. The first thing he said when he pulled up to the podium was, oh, the showers weren't working, and you could tell by my hair. And y'all know them Italians, they like to keep the hair fresh, nice and gelled up and all that, right? So I understand the story, right? And a lot of fans are in support of Tommy DeVito, and I think they should be in support of Tommy DeVito. And I think it's the same thing when Tyrod Taylor was in the lineup as well. Now, granted, he wasn't getting the same reaction, but I think when a starting quarterback goes down, we can't forget that the backup quarterbacks are part of this team, and we should show them love and get them their flowers the same way we would give the starter. We can't play favoritism out here. We got to root for the guy who's out there taking the snaps and out there putting his best foot forward, trying to get the Giants into some victories. Now, some people might blame this. What I'm about to say is the reason why Tommy DeVito had a good game, but clearly being sacked 9 times shows you that Tommy DeVito was under pressure in this game heavily, and also a lot of that was probably not on him, but some of it was on the offensive line. For the first time this season in consecutive games, the Giants had the same exact offensive line out there, that's an amazing, for us, it's an amazing feat. Like, for most teams, that's probably the normal. But for us, that was great for us. You had Andrew Thomas, Justin Pugh. Pugh had a really good game, man. On one of those screenplays, I saw a block that was just so amazing by Pugh. John Michael Schmitz at the center position, Ben Bredesen at the guard, and Tyree Phillips at right tackle. Tyree Phillips is showing that he's a better option at right tackle than Evan Neal is at this moment in time, and I think he's earned himself a roster spot going into next year as well. Now, I want to start this off with the first overreaction here now, because I'm seeing a lot of conversation, let's say, about the offensive line in comparison to the quarterback position. So let's get into this first overreaction. All right, y'all. So I've been seeing a lot of tweets like this one going around. This one is from the homie Poppy Ace FBC. He says that Tommy and Tyrod are really showing us the issue is not the offensive line, it's the quarterback. If y'all think that this statement is an overreaction, indeed, let me see an O in the chat. If you agree with this statement on the screen, let me see a U in the chat to represent the under. If you're going to do what I'm about to do, and you're going to take the push on this one, let me see a P in the chat. And let me tell you why I'm going to take the push on this. I think that Tommy DeVito and Tyrod Taylor are showing you that there is an issue with the quarterback. But that does not negate that this offensive line is a real issue. Okay, this offensive line is not good. It's good to see them have 2 games back-to-back with the same unit, and I think that this offensive line is better than being a bottom-ranked type of offensive line, but you still got plenty of places that you need to build up. I like what I'm seeing out of JMS at the center position. I like what I'm seeing out of Andrew Thomas at the left tackle position. I think that Tyree Phillips makes a good option at the swing tackle, possibly the right tackle position until you can get Evan Neal headed in the right direction or maybe move him to right guard. But there are other positions. That leaves you about 40% left of 2 positions on the interior offensive line that absolutely have to be addressed. So for me, I'm going to take the push. I think the quarterback is an issue in New York, especially with how much you paid him. If Daniel Jones was still on a rookie contract right now, I would not be looking at the quarterback as a major issue. But when you get a guy like Tommy DeVito come in here and break your streak of 39 consecutive games without having multiple passing touchdowns, an undrafted rookie free agent, I think that definitely shines light on the problem that we're having at the quarterback position. But it does not take away anything from how bad this offensive line has been. Let me see how the chat is looking at this one time, see where y'all kind of feel about this offensive line topic and argument that I've been seeing go around the internet so much. I really think that this win not only is splitting our fan base, but 2, this win has got people extremely in their emotions in a way that I think is very reactionary. And this is the giant overreaction. I think a lot of people woke up this morning and they overreacted, definitely. And I know a lot of the spaces were going on last night, and boy, were people overreacting in those spaces. I wish I could have listened in a little bit more. But let me see what the chat has to say one time. I got to scroll back just a little bit to get caught up here. So let's start. Ooh, okay, we got a lot of votes coming in. All right, let's start right here. The homie Cavase one time says he's taking the under. Thunder 404 taking the under. They both agree with the statement on the screen. I feel you on that. Kenny G taking the under as well. Shout out to the homie one time, Michael Knight is in the building one time. Michael Knight says this is an overreaction. I'm not mad at anybody who thinks that this is an overreaction. MYG season says he's taking the under. I point to Joe Burrow. And I think one thing you got to think about on that NYG is like using the anomaly, using the exception to the rule to define the rule. I think we got to look at that because there's not many quarterbacks that will succeed with a bad offensive line. But that is a good point. Joe Burrow consistently going out here making plays with one of the offensive lines in this league that are not that great. Sank Zappa said, agree with the U. That's very creative, man. Big shout out to Sank Zappa one time in the building. Let me see. Nick DeWick says that this is a big overreaction. Forever NYG says it's a bit of both. Yep, that's exactly why I'm taking the push, Forever NYG, because I think it's a bit of both as well, because you want to be able to get the right quarterback in, underneath the center, right, for the New York Giants. But at the same time, we can't negate what's happening with the offensive line. We got to figure things out up front for sure. And I think it might not necessarily just be a personnel issue as well. We know that the whole thing this season has been people want to fire Bobby Johnson, the offensive line coach for the New York Giants. It's rare you're going to see me come up here and call for coaches' jobs. I don't do that because I don't know what's going on. Players, I might say, hey, this guy might need to take a back seat because I can at least go off what I'm seeing on the field. I don't know what these players are being taught. I don't know what kind of technique they're being taught in practice, but it is something to be addressed for sure. If we're going to talk about the offensive line being addressed, then we got to talk about the offensive line coach being addressed as well. Big Dog Status says he agrees with the statement on the screen, along with Jesse, Shannon, Basile, and the homie Shannon Spence one time. John says he's taking the push. Shout out to John in the building. What's going on, fam? Okay. Psychogenic CC says he's taking the push one time. King James taking the push. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets says it's an overreaction. That O-line look ugly at times. This is a fact, especially when you look at, when I've been addressing the offensive line for the most part during a lot of these streams, I like to address the offensive line with what we have as starters, right? Obviously, when you get second, third stringers, like the first game Tyrod Taylor came in there where Pugh was coming off the streets, a bunch of third stringers out there, it's not going to look that great. I've been trying to address the offensive line as far as the starters, but also you can't overlook the depth pieces as well. You got to have guys that can come off the bench because the New York Giants seem to deal with injuries just about every year. Big Low says he's taking the U on this one. Kansan taking the push. Ben Dawson taking the U. Deedon taking the U on this one. Old Man Rob takes the push along with Nova. He says it's both. Host of Horror says overreaction, but it's both. I feel you on that. Lewis taking the push. Atriox taking the push. What else we got on here? Let me see. Alvaro Orion taking the push. The sample size is too small for Tommy DeVito and Ty God. I like that. TDV and Ty God. I like that. Look at us giving our flowers to our backup quarterbacks, yo. Big shout out to the gang one time, yo. That's fire right there. Gregory says it's an overreaction. Corey Pates taking the push. He says there's an issue, but who knows if the line are working better this many games in. That's a good point right there. Shout out my guy, Irish Rover, man. What's going on, fam? He says he's taking the under on this one as well. Crypto moves in the building, taking the push. Can't compare because O-line has switched around so much. That's another great point right there. I mean, look, we've had just our first consecutive games with the same unit at offensive line. So that's a great point. You know, if you don't have chemistry, continuity up front on the offensive line, how are we able to even judge these players and this coaching staff with all that happening? That's a good point right there. Kai in the building taking the under. King James says it's definitely a push. It's an issue with both. DeVito sacked 9 times, and even I can account for him holding on to the ball. That's still like 4 sacks by the line. Yep, that's facts. And if you get to 4 sacks, that's not really a good game. Zach G taking the under. He says because time to throw is a misleading stat, everyone thinks longer is better. And I understand why people think that, but all the running quarterbacks in this league are going to have longer time to throw. You can't look at time to throw as a thing because when a guy scrambles, gets out of the pocket, does all that, they're going to count that. Pocket time is a good stat to look at, which Next Gen Stat also keeps track of as well. So, you know, you can look at pocket time and compare it to time to throw as well and come up with a good conclusion on there. But Zach taking the under. Shout out to Zach one time in the building. Host the Horse says the run blocking is horrible. This is a fact. The first half, we had 0 yards at halftime, I believe, on the ground. It's been terrible. Sank Zappa said, yeah, it's both. Let me see what else we got. Ben Dawson saying move Evan Neal to left guard. I ain't mad at that. Yeah, I definitely would experiment at least with that and start trying them out in practice and seeing the kind of results that you get. Zani or Zani, I'm going to go with Zani, says Zani's taking a push one time. It's both. It takes 2 to tango. That's a fact. Yeah, like a decisive quarterback helps the offensive line. It doesn't make the offensive line, right? You need that offensive line to be out there, especially in the run blocking game. When I talk about a decisive quarterback, that's really only when you're dropping back to pass the ball, and the Giants have struggled with run blocking in an atrocious way this whole entire year. Big Dog Status piggybacking on that as well. He said run blocking ain't that bad. Pass pro is horrendous. I think the run blocking has been pretty bad. You look at Saquon Barkley and how he's been bottled up. I'm going to get to a statistic when I get to talking about Saquon on the next overreaction as well that you'll see that definitely brings some light to the run blocking not being that great. James Jones, a.k.a. Lil TNT, taking the push one time. We need to see them against really good competition. That's another good point. Washington ain't it. He says both played against Washington. Yeah, and speaking in Tyrod Taylor, who got his victory against Washington, damn, I ain't even think about that. The beard going to be in his feelings, yo. But Tommy DeVito now also getting his, best performance on the field against Washington as well. Maybe, Washington started the year 2-0. And when I did, our predictions at the beginning of the year with the beard and whatnot, I predicted Washington was going to be at the bottom of the division, starting what essentially is a rookie quarterback and whatnot, having their offensive line issues up front and stuff like that. Washington won their first 2 games, and then they lost 7 out of 9. Washington might be a worse team than us, and I think a lot of that has to do with coaching. The roster and the personnel might be a little bit overhyped, possibly, especially when it comes to the weapons. I think Brian Robinson's the best weapon that they got. I like Terry McLaurin. I think he's a really good wide receiver, but I think he needs somebody else over there, and I think that's what they thought Jahan Dotson was going to be. And I don't know what happened to Jahan Dotson this year, but he's definitely regressed a bit. He did have a touchdown in this game that was on Deonte Banks on the left side. But outside of that, he was pretty quiet, from what I saw from the stands. And Washington, obviously they have their quarterback issues, but there's been a lot of hype around the quarterback position. I thought, after I went to camp, I looked at Sam Howell and I was like, man, this kid, he can definitely throw the football, but he has his problems. And you look at the trying to throw it away late in that game on the last play for them on the interception to Isaiah Simmons. It reminded me so much of Daniel Jones in Daniel Jones' 2020 season. I believe it was week 2 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, where he was trying to throw the ball at the back of the end zone with pressure in his face, just held onto the ball way too long. Then he tries to throw it out the back of the end zone and ends up getting intercepted. Also reminds me of the one against Dallas, I think that was in that same season where he tried to throw the ball away as well and it got intercepted. So, these young quarterbacks are going to learn for the sake of Sam Howell. I hope that, when they're teaching him to try to take care of the ball and not take the sacks and not make the egregious interceptions and stuff like that, that they don't take away his it factor and his gamer factor of trying to go out there and try to win games. So we'll see how that goes. But this is a great point, man. both backups get a W against the Washington Commanders. They're looking like a really bad team. And another one of my overreactions, we're gonna talk about that for sure. Chris Peace said, I'm taking the push, but leaning to the under. The fact that Tommy and Tyrod were operating with that same to similar offensive line speaks volumes. It's true. Nobody wanted to admit that. I know a lot of people are Daniel Jones supporters, as I am. As long as he's a starting quarterback, I'm going to support him out there and hope that he plays his best football. But that's something that we just can't ignore. And I remember when I linked up with Chris after the game, the first thing I said to him was like, I was in the stands, man, and like, I'm rooting for a win the whole game, bro. Like, I don't know what it was, like the atmosphere being in that stadium, watching our team. There's no way I can be right there next to my squad and not be rooting for them to get a W. So much so that the lady in front of me, right, you know, like I was around a bunch of people that like, they didn't really know ball too much like that, right? But a lot of them, you know, a lot of chatter, and then we get to start talking a lot more during the game and whatnot. And they realize like, oh, damn, this dude kind of knows ball. Like I ain't tell him like I do a pod or none of that stuff, but they're just like, damn, every time something goes on, he kind of knows the rules or he knows what's going on. And a lady in front of me, you know, every time I would like celebrate or something, and I'm not one of those fans that like, you know, get into trouble in the stands and whatnot, be pointing in people's faces when we score touchdowns, like, and doing all that crazy rah-rah stuff, right? Like, I'm literally just cheering for my team. And she just like, every time we score a touchdown, she like turn around looking at me, mugging me, giving me the wildest faces and whatnot. And like the dude that was with her and another lady that was with her, they're like consoling her during the game. Like as we scored touchdowns, they got to like give her a hug. Like I almost thought she like lost somebody in her family that was in the organization or something because the emotions were just all over the place during the game. But I sat in those stands, man, solo too. I was by myself, okay, surrounded by nothing but Commanders fans. And to my right, I had 2 Giants fans, 2 or 3 Giants fans, but it was nothing but Commanders fans around there. And I just kept it pretty chill, but it was interesting watching the game by myself, man, and seeing my team that has been in losing mode for almost this whole entire season and found a way to get a victory in this one. And that interception, man, when Isaiah Simmons got that interception, he came right down the sidelines, right into our end zone, and it was just the greatest way to just walk off with a victory. It was just an amazing feeling, man, so I enjoyed it. But shout out to Chris Peace, man. We chopped it up for a good couple of hours as we were waiting on this situation that I was handling with some negligence on my part a little bit and some negligence on some friends that had me a little bit stuck in the stadium for a little bit. So big shout out to Chris Peace, man, and his wife. They definitely held me down, and we had some good conversation during that whole entire time. But that's a really good point you make there. Big Dog Status said, fans were in shambles in the spaces, like we still can't bottom out and get the second pick. Yeah, I don't know what is it that much of a detriment to people that we're not going to go 2-15? Like, let these people live, man. And I just see people attacking people online because they're happy and they're celebrating these victories. Like, no one else's emotions should ever have you in your emotions like the way people are in their emotions today. So I tweeted it out twice. I put out the exact same tweet, right? I'm like, I said, these meaningless wins got y'all angry. And then I said, these meaningless wins got y'all happy. It's like, it don't matter, man. Like, it really does not matter. Like, unless we can make an impossible run and win every one of these games, the Giants are probably not going to the playoffs and are probably going to end up with the bare minimum a top 10 pick. So, you know, I hear people saying like, you know, this has been the problem with the organization all along. You know, they always middling and they're never going to be a bottomed out team where they can get the top draft pick to move on and get their franchise quarterback. Listen, man, the Buffalo Bills got their franchise quarterback and they were picking somewhere like 20-something. They ended up trading up a couple of picks. They used 3 draft picks to get to that. One of those picks came a year before that, and then they got their guy, Josh Allen, and he didn't even start the first couple of games. So it is what it is. If Joe Shane and them feel like we need to go out there and get our franchise quarterback, that's exactly what they're going to do. I see Max Custom Kicks is in the building. Shout out Max Custom Kicks. He said, how's your boy the Beard feeling, Awthentik? Or was this what he expected? He definitely didn't expect this. I know he knew it was a possibility, but he definitely didn't expect this. I didn't expect this, man. I was chopping it up with Washington fans before the game, and they're like, man, we're going to kick y'all ass today. And I was like, is that like a feat for y'all? Like, does that make you happy that you're going to beat a 2-8 team that clearly is on their third quarterback, backup offensive linemen, all kind of stuff, right? Like, that's going to make you happy right now after y'all lost 6 out of 8? You're going to be hyped to beat a New York Giants team? Because some of these fans, they come out there, and I swear to God, their energy is like they want to get punched in the face. I swear to you. But I'm a real cool, calm, chill dude. I try to make buddies with people out there, even when they give you the wrong energy. I still try to make buddies out there with people and whatnot. But it's like some people just go to these games with a different agenda. And if I was on that time, you know what I'm saying? Like if I was really about that time, I would definitely be in a few fights at a Commanders game. You know, and I saw some people out there rocking like, like jerseys and stuff from other teams. And I don't do that, but like, I'm also not going to give no fans no problems for doing that and whatnot. But the Commanders fans, all in all, I say they were good to me. They did a good job at this game. Jetpack Jeff is in the building. He said, "What's good, Awthentik? Good to see you." So it seems like the general consensus on this one is pretty much the same. I see Jonathan Studios in the building. He said he's taking the under. The spinal cord issue is underreported and underdocumented. I agree with you on that. They hiding something for sure. The more hits he takes in a game is directly related to his performance. He has not been NFL ready for a year. Yeah, because the Daniel Jones we saw last year, and I questioned that on the overreaction during the Raiders game. The Daniel Jones we saw last year is not the Daniel Jones we saw this year. And I don't know what happened there, but he definitely regressed this year. You know, and I think that in the long run, it's going to be a baptized by fire type of situation for the New York Giants. Like, it might have been what needed to happen for them to at least consider moving on from the quarterback position. I wish Daniel Jones well with his health, and I hope he can get back to playing football if that's indeed what he wants to do. He's a young man. I'm sure he still wants to go out here and play football. Texas boy said Beard's hate for the Cowboys has his team fourth in the NFC East division. They're not fourth quite yet. Don't jump the gun. The New York Giants are still one game back from the Washington Commanders. But I think that's kind of where we headed. I really do. I really do think that's where we headed. Shout out Texas boy pulling up, rocking out with us this time. Yeah, and no Mets cleared that up for you. Let me see. Ben Dawson said in defense, it's funny how you can read something like that, but in defense of Bobby Johnson, maybe the indecisions by DJ put the O-line in bad spots to fill. I think it's part of that. I really do. I've been saying that damn near all year. You know, you cannot be indecisive at the quarterback position. And I think if Tommy DeVito was a bit more decisive, it's interesting because it's a balance, right? You saw Daniel Jones during the Jason Garrett era try to be extremely decisive, get the ball out, hit the back step, throw the ball. But in return, he kind of was turning the ball over a little bit where you get sometimes some throws that are a little bit too hot, wide receivers not getting their head around, you getting drops and whatnot, the ball popping up, and then it's leading to interceptions. There's a balance of being decisive and not making the big mistakes. I think Sam Howell's dealing with that right now as well. And Daniel Jones, this year, I think he realized, okay, I can't be that decisive because if I am decisive, I'm going to make mistakes. I want to be in control with the play that I'm putting out there on the field. And in return, he's holding on to the ball a little bit too long. I think Tommy DeVito does a little bit of the same as well. John said that DJ has owned Washington as well. That's definitely a fact. Yeah, I'm just catching up with y'all. Shout out Gregory for encouraging y'all to like that like button, man. Salute, salute. Alvaro Ryan says Awthentik, the number one pick, doesn't guarantee a franchise quarterback. There's enough evidence to support that claim. You know what it is. Yeah, for sure. But a first-round quarterback gives you at least a 36% chance to get you your franchise guy if you look at the last decade of drafting in the first round. So here's the thing for me. It's like somebody was saying this to me at the game, and I thought it was like, it's just the craziest thinking. I made a comparison to my girl that I'll break down for y'all. So they're like, we don't need a first round pick for the quarterback because look at Brock Purdy in San Francisco. He was the last pick in the draft. And I was about to get into like this whole breaking it down for him, trying to tell him why that really don't make no sense. And I was just like, yo, you got it, bro. Sometimes you gotta just let people live, right? But this is what that's essentially like. That's like seeing a kid grow up in a poor community, poor household, raised in poverty, bad schooling, friend group full of thugs or whatever you want to call it, right? But he finds a way to make it, right? Makes a lot of money, very successful. And then you go, I should raise my kid in the hood because that kid made it. You can't think like that. At the end of the day, you got to look at the higher the draft pick you could get is the better for a bad team. That is absolutely what it is, right? Now, should we go out here and root for our team to lose games? Absolutely not. Go out here and root for your team the way you want to root for your team. Like I told y'all, I was reeled in the stadium. I was like, bro, I'm trying to get this dub, right? And before Tyrod Taylor became the quarterback, like in that mid, like when we were sitting around like 1-4, I was kind of like, I'm clocked out. But I always want to see my team win. It's a good feeling when your team wins and I can do a giant overreaction on Monday and be like, yeah, we won that game. And it's not, I remember it was either Gregory or it was or Marquez. I think it was Gregory or it was Marquez. They were like, man, I hate seeing Awthentik down bad like this. Because your emotions are going to show. When your team is that pathetic, that bad, not putting out good football, it's a bad thing. I want to see my team play well. And I want to see my team play well enough, not to the point where I go, oh, I want them to play good, but don't push no victories. Play well enough to lose the game still. I ain't trying to see that. If I want to see young players develop and start to be pivotal pieces for this team moving forward, a victory for them is great. I don't know, I can't even say I don't know, because for the people that played sports out there, man, it don't matter how many games you lose. When you win, it feels great. I remember in a two-hand touch league I just played in like about 4 or 5 years ago, we lost like 30 straight games in a row. And it was just showing up every weekend was terrible to go out there and get a loss. And then you got to go out, and it was a social league, so we go out and have drinks after. And you got to see all these other teams all happy, talking all they smack to you and all that. A victory feels great no matter what. So I think for the young guys in this locker room, it's definitely a good thing. So I'm with you on that. I definitely feel you on that. Talking Eco says with this win, it also shows that players not giving up on the coaching staff, which is a big thing and might give some coaches an additional year. That's a great point, man. I'm glad I highlighted that comment. That's a great point to piggyback on the last one, because we saw it with Joe Judge. We saw it with Ben McAdoo. Once you lose the locker room, you've lost your job. That's automatically what it is. And that's the one thing I don't want to see Brian Daboll have happen to him this year. You know, he deserves, obviously, to go into next year with a job with the New York Giants, but this kind of stuff might get him another year. So I'm definitely with you on that. That's a great point, Talking Nico. All right, so I'm all caught up here, it looks like. Yes, Alvaro, yes. My girl be saying I look like Herm. She's like, when you get older, you're going to look like Herm. Shout out Alvaro Orion. That's a fact. I see real people in the building. What's going on, fam? How you doing? I hope all is well. Max Custom Kick said, my little cousin played in one of those and lost almost every game. Won a game, and they went on an amazing winning streak to the championship game. They lost that game, but he was hella hyped. Yo, that same thing happened to us. We lost like the 30-something games, and we were trying everything. We were bringing in new quarterbacks, new receivers, new everything. Nothing was working. And finally, we won like a game late in the season, and I remember we went to the playoffs because of out of default. Like, one of the teams couldn't show up for the playoffs, so they just went and asked every other team in the league, are y'all available to play this game, of all the teams that were eliminated? And our team was the only team that was available to play. And we couldn't even roster a full team. This was an 8-person league. We rostered 7 people. And we went out there and we competed with the #1 seed, with literally being a man down in that game. And the beard will tell you, I talk about this game, and his wife will tell you, she was on our team as well. And Monique, who's normally in the chat, she will tell you, I went absolutely ape in this game. They were like trying to double and triple cover me. I was playing wide receiver. Like, they just could not stop me. And we kept the game close. The following year, we end up winning the championship with a new quarterback. So you never know what can happen, man. That's definitely facts. Astro Monsters in the building one time. He said, what's up, Awthentik? Just a quick question. Let's say the Giants have the 3rd pick and are taking a quarterback. Would you rather want Michael Penix or Jaden Daniels? Or would you take someone else? God damn, that's a good question. Right now, I would take Jaden Daniels. I think he gives you a great opportunity to have a quarterback who can run a system in a multiple facet type of way. He can run the ball. He could do the read option stuff. He could do the RPO stuff. He's got a good enough arm. He's accurate enough. I feel like he's got that it factor too. But that's not to take away nothing from Michael Penix. Michael Penix is a fantastic quarterback. As far as arm talent goes, I think Michael Penix has the best arm talent. Right up there with Drake May of any quarterback coming out in this draft. Twin said go Marvin Harrison at 3. Only way I go Marvin Harrison at 3 is if you could get me a guy like Jaden Daniels with another pick in the 1st round, if you could trade up, or if you could find a way to get him in the 2nd round. But the absolute worst case scenario for me, and I hope this doesn't turn around and kick me in the ass later on, maybe 2 years down the line, somebody clip this up. I don't want J.J. McCarthy as the quarterback that's drafted by the Giants. That's just where I'm at with it. Mel Hayes 3D in the building says DeVito could be finding his stride. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. I like what I saw out of DeVito. Good game, and I want to give him his flowers. He played a solid game, man. 3 touchdowns. Yeah, Tommy DeVito was out here doing some things, man. And if he could get a little bit more decisive and keep that balance with some of the big plays that he's making, I think he has potential to be at least a solid backup in this league. But a lot of questions at the quarterback. A lot of questions at the quarterback position. Now, let's talk about my guy real quick, man. The backbone, the identity of this whole entire New York Giants football team, whether you like it or not. I had to sit up a little bit because, man, it's been ugly games like this for Saquon Barkley the entire year. But he's still going out here giving y'all maximum effort, showing y'all who is the true playmaker on this team. When all these other guys got hurt, Saquon Barkley found a way to battle back from his injury, get back on that field, and find his way into the top 10 of the rushing in the league after missing a couple of games, man. Saquon Barkley, man, Bobby Skinner put up this stat. He just was talking about this on the Talking Giants stream that he just did this morning, actually. It was a really good stream. I got to check that out, about half of it. I'm going to go back and finish it. In the 2 starts that Tommy DeVito has been the starting quarterback for the Giants, in the first half, Saquon Barkley, 13 rushes, -1 yards. In the second half, 14 rushes for 146 yards. Bobby spoke a lot about this, about teams stacking the box, placing the emphasis on stopping Saquon Barkley. That's exactly what's been happening. And in the second half, I got to give my kudos to Brian Dable and Mike Kafka because they're finding ways to not give up on the run. Now, let me tell you, man, first half of this game, I think Tommy DeVito started off like 11 of 12 or something like that. It felt like he was throwing the ball on every damn play. And that's not the kind of game plan I like to approach with. I'm a RTDB specialist right now. I want to see Saquon getting the ball all damn day. But Tommy DeVito was showing you that when you give him that responsibility, he could handle it. What's the Spider-Man saying? With great responsibility, or with great power comes great responsibility. It's a fact. And I think Tommy DeVito showed you in this game, they gave him a reason to be able to throw the ball. When he was playing in that Jets game, they wanted to not let him throw the ball, right? But in this one, he was throwing the ball. He was effective. Saquon had that big 36-yard run in this one. He had 2 receiving touchdowns, 140 scrimmage yards. Entering this game, Saquon Barkley was averaging over 100 yards from scrimmage. There was only 2 other running backs in the entire NFL that were doing that exact same thing. It was, I believe it was Alvin Kamara and CMC. So Saquon is still finding a way on a bad team to be able to go out there and be productive on the field. He's 7th in rushing yards in the NFL right now with 651 yards. He's averaging 4.2 yards per carry. He had 5.2 yards per carry in this game versus Washington. He leads the Giants right now with 4 receiving touchdowns on the year, which is absolutely ridiculous because the New York Giants invested in all these weapons, and we thought that we were going to be able to open up this passing attack. And again, the New York Giants have been hit with the injury bug, right? And our offense is right back to what it was. Get a ball to Saquon and then try to make everything else work off of that. So big shout out to Saquon, man. And a lot of people, they don't want Saquon Barkley back on his team next year. And I think that's foolish, right? I'm a guy that, there's a reason why the NFL is not paying me money to figure out how the salaries are divided for the New York Giants, okay? I really don't care about the salary unless you are underperforming. But the goal for my football team, for me as a fan, is to put out the best product on the field. If you think in your rabbit-ass mind that the New York Giants are a better team without Saquon Barkley, I have no words for you. I don't know what to tell you. This guy has been the only playmaker throughout this whole entire Dave Gettleman, all the way through Joe Shane. He's been the only guy that you know will show up week in, week out. As long as he is healthy, he's going to go out there and give you maximum productivity on that football field. So for me, if you can find a way to bring back Saquon Barkley on his team next year, I'm absolutely for it. Why would I not want to see my best player? Why do I want to see my best player again? Because this happened with Odell Beckham when he got traded away. I was like, what the hell are we doing? You just drafted a quarterback, and literally about 6 months before that, you trade away your best asset on the offensive side of the ball. I'm all for seeing my guy Saquon Barkley back. And that prompts me to talk about this next overreaction that has been a topic of discussion on Twitter for Saquon Barkley's entire career. Shout out to my brother one time, Real Mace Black. This dude is overseas representing the troops right now, man. This dude is in the trenches. He's staying up late to watch these New York Giants games. He's been a big Saquon advocate. And he said this today, and I love this. I love how it ended with, "I want blood." I thought that was amazing. He said, "I was told that Saquon Barkley was not a good receiver." Speaking of him being a receiving back. He said, "I want blood." What's y'all thoughts on this? Is this an overreaction? Is this just an overreaction to a good game by Saquon Barkley? Did y'all see the tiptoe catch on the sideline? Did you see the one in the back of the end zone? You see the reach for the pylon? You tell me, is this an overreaction? I'm going to give y'all just a few seconds. Get in your bag one time. Tell me if you think this is an overreaction or if you completely agree with the statement on the screen like I do and you taking the under. Let me see what the chat talking one time. And this phone is blowing up. Y'all don't know I'm on Victory Monday Giant Overreaction, man. Y'all know what it is. Okay. And let me get to some of these super chats while I'm at it too, man. Definitely missed a couple of these. Yo, big shout out to the homie John one time, man. Appreciate you pulling up in the building. My G says, what's up, Awthentik? Great weekend. Rangers beat the Devils. The Knicks won, and the Giants sweep the Magic Commanders. Stay warm and healthy, fam. Most definitely, man. Yo, I'm in some Buffalo plaid pajamas. I ain't doing jack shit today, y'all. I'm chilling. I'm going to watch as much media, as much ESPN, FS1, NFL Network content as I possibly can, not only to see them talk about my Giants getting this victory against the Commanders, but to catch up on some football as well. Didn't get a chance to see a lot of the 1 o'clock games, nor the 4 o'clock games. And then by the time I finally got back to the crib, I passed out during the Sunday night game. So I definitely got to catch up. I got a fantasy matchup as well. With I need Travis Kelce to get more points than Harrison Butker for the Chiefs. We'll see how that goes. Definitely trying to get to another victory. But yeah, man, I'm definitely gonna stay warm and healthy, fam. Like, yes, I'm chilling today, y'all. I got the heater over here pumping. I'm straight chilling today, man. I definitely appreciate that, John. And my homie Sebastian is in the building one time. Sakpa said, mon chef. He said 2 6s making plays. He should have gotten paid over 8. Whoo, that's a giant overreaction topic right there, man. Everybody was talking about that in the offseason. A lot of the guys that I share the spaces with, they were more of the opinion of letting Saquon walk and Daniel Jones walk. And I just never could get on that ship. I always agreed with, hey, pay my man Saquon Barkley. A contract should be about what is on your resume and what you predict for a player moving forward, his potential. And Saquon Barkley, of any player on this team not named Dexter Lawrence and Andrew Thomas, has proven that he is one of those guys, man. So I do think that the New York Giants need to consider giving Saquon Barkley a contract, man. I really do. I know a lot of people not going to agree with that, but y'all know me. I'm not up here to be agreeing with a bunch of people. I'm up here to keep it realistic. What we look like getting rid of one of our best players in a year where you just gave your quarterback a huge contract and likely are going to draft another quarterback. Can you imagine if Daniel Jones does get back healthy before the 2024 season without a Saquon Barkley? For the fans out there that have just constantly complained, hey, Saquon Barkley with Daniel Jones, wait till we see that, right? Because we know that this quarterback cannot hold it down on his own. He needs things around him to be functional for him to be able to be a good quarterback in this league. I'm all for it, man. Bring back my guy Saquon one time. Let me see. I want to see how people reacting to this. Yo, no Mets, no Nets, no Jets. Hey, Sebastian, I appreciate that too, fam. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets says, oh, Barkley, most definitely. SHU Carter says, I think we need to give the coaching staff their credit for scheming to what works for DeVito. Yeah, especially after seeing what didn't work, right? They literally tried to go to that whole, like, we just going to run Saquon into the ground for the first game you saw DeVito get some action in. They saw it didn't work. Some coaching mistakes down the stretch cost us that game against the Jets. You know what's so puzzling about this whole entire situation? So I had the Giants at 8-9 at the end of the season. And I thought we were going to lose to the Jets because I envisioned Aaron Rodgers was going to be their quarterback when we played them. But I did think that we were going to get a win against the Raiders. If you look at the game against the Buffalo Bills and you look at the game against the Jets, which in my eyes should have been victories for the New York Giants, this Giants team's looking a lot better. They'd be sitting at 5-6 right now with a chance. The one reason why I look at the Commanders, right, who have 4 wins on the season, right? Coming into this game, I thought they was going to get to their 5th win, but I thought they absolutely had no chance of making the playoffs because when you look at the rest of their schedule is treacherous. They got some tough games coming up. They got the 49ers. They got the Jets, the Browns. They got 2 games against the Philadelphia Eagles. They got another game against Dallas. So I looked at them like their schedule it ain't looking right. For us, if we were sitting right now, just imagine this, Giants fans. We sitting at 5 wins right now, and you get to play the Patriots, the Packers, the Saints, and the Rams. You mean to tell me we wouldn't be able to make a playoff push? This is going to be one of those lost seasons because I don't think that the New York Giants team is as bad as people make it out to be. Granted, we've had our injuries that have really derailed our season in a major way. The regression of the quarterback is one thing, but these injuries have derailed us. When you look at Darren Waller coming in as the best weapon for the New York Giants, and then he has to sit out 4 games on IR, maybe more, who knows? Andrew Thomas, missing action. JMS, missing action. Adoree Jackson, missing games. It's been tough, but I don't think that this team is as bad as people are making them out to be. But we got to go off the Bill Parcells saying, you are what your record says you are. And you can't ignore it. You know, almost is only in horseshoes and hand grenades, as my co-host, The Beard, always reminds me. If you don't win, you don't win. And the players on the field are a big part of it. But the coaching staff, I think, really let us down in 2 pivotal games this year against the Bills and against the Jets. But I will give them their credit, SHU Carter. I'll give them their credit for this game. But I think that there are some moments they'll look back on in the season and be like, damn, we let that get away from us, and that really cost us trying to make a run. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets says, problem is Saquon's best years were most likely wasted. I can agree with that to an extent. Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, Saquon's rookie year is like undoubtedly his best season. But last year, his second best season, put up to 1,300 yards, had a really big year. I forget how many touchdowns it was. I think Saquon had 10 touchdowns last year. I don't know. Maybe Saquon is an anomaly. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, Austin Eckler last year had his best year at the age of 26, 27, I think. I think Austin Eckler might be 28 now. You know, a lot of people like to talk about running backs falling off that cliff. I'm not too sure with Saquon Barkley. I don't know. Like, does he not look like he's getting better as the season goes along to y'all? Because I really think he is. I think he's getting more comfortable with this role of being an in-between the tackles runner. And he just looks more comfortable. And when the Giants commit to him, you can expect the big play. Now, this was Washington, so I don't want to get my hopes up too high. But I definitely feel you on that. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. It's a good point. It's definitely a good point. Cavay says that I hate that they chose DJ over Saquon. So disrespectful. Yeah, I don't know if y'all remember the video I put out, right? When the Saquon franchise tag deadline was coming up in July. I want to say that was July 17th. And I said this is a loyalty and a respect thing. And I said if Saquon Barkley is smart, he's going to go for the respect, not the loyalty. Because if they respect Saquon, they would have gave him the contract. They showed him slight respect by giving him a 1-year contract. But I think they should have handled business and taken care of him, gave him a 3-year deal or something. At least find a way to make your best player happy. Is at least your best weapon, I'll say, not your best player. I know a lot of people ain't going to like that. But find a way to make your best weapon happy. And instead, I don't know what happened. And I pray to God. You know, I don't know if y'all saw the video I posted with the quick edit from Tom Coughlin's last speech, his final speech at the podium as a New York Giant. And you can see, you know, I chopped in those clips of Eli Manning where he's sitting in the stands or whatnot in the crowd, and he's, you know, you can see the tears just developing on his eye. And Tom Coughlin saying, Eli, it wasn't your fault. He's like, this guy thinks it's his fault. It's not your fault, Eli. And when I posted that, you know, a lot of people, you know, when I posted that one on Twitter, that thing went berserk. It had like over a million views on it and a ton, like 1,000 retweets. Just so many people were talking about that. And we never got to figure out when Tom Coughlin walked off that stage from that podium and he walked right past John Mara. And John Mara reached out to shake his hand, and Tom Coughlin just walked right past him. And then John Mara even put his hands on his hips like this. We never got to find out what really was the real true deal with that. Like, was Tom Coughlin just salty about, you know, being forced into resigning or what? And I hope that when all this Saquon, Daniel Jones stuff like comes to an end and years down the line when our team is thriving and we're headed towards chips, that we could find out what really went down here. Like, why did they prioritize Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley? And why did they make it a package deal? That was my biggest question. Like, why was it that they had to have both of them? And I do think we dodged a bullet in a way, unless you would have traded up to draft one of these, you know, potential franchise quarterbacks like a CJ Stroud, even like a Bryce Young. I'm going to give Bryce Young his props until it's over for him. Right now, he's not looking good, but It's just the first year in a bad organization with not much going on around you. But unless we could have traded up and got like one of those quarterbacks or an Anthony Richardson, it wouldn't have really made no sense. So maybe we dodged a bullet. But the microscope is going to be on the front office of the New York Giants in this next draft, because if they don't draft a quarterback, I think the questions will definitely loom. You know, are we still going to be in support of what Joe Schoen is doing as the New York Giants GM? So we'll see how that goes. But Kavase, I hated it too. I really did. Like, that's not how you handle your star running back. It's definitely not how you handle that. And let me catch up. It seems like everyone agreed with this statement on the screen. I see all the U's, man, from Jamar, Simeon, Big Dog, Atriox, Louis R., Deedon, Jesse, John, Crypto, Alfredo. Everybody's coming in with U's. And I agree with you. Like, it's interesting that the Giants have not found a way outside of 2018 to really utilize Saquon Barkley, the pass catcher, the proper way. It's why I love Sean Payton when he was with Kamara with the New Orleans Saints. You know, I love what they do with the Chargers over there with Austin Eckler, although they do got to find a way to be able to run the ball better with him. But the utilization of Saquon Barkley has not been proper. And I don't understand. I really don't understand it, because you saw two coaching staffs in a row do the exact same thing with Daniel Jones, where they ran a ton of read option, speaking on Joe Judge, Jason Garrett, and speaking on Brian Dable in 2022, and just not finding ways to be creative with Saquon Barkley in the pass attack. And I got to commend them for finding a way in this game. Just the coaching staff overall in this game, they were very creative. They schemed people open in a way that I have not seen all year long. And I don't know if that was just because I was sitting in the stands and I could see like the whole bird's eye view of the game and whatnot. But like, there were times in this game where like Tommy DeVito dropped back to pass. He'd be seeing a little bit of pressure and the wide receivers just like, wide open. Where us and the fans are like screaming like on the 40-yard of the Slay, and we were all like slaying. And then props to Tommy DeVito for like in the middle of the chaos finding him and finding the open wide receiver, because all too many times we've seen that with Daniel Jones, where it's like somebody's wide open, whole shot right there for you, and you don't take it. So, you know, for a guy as young as Tommy DeVito, I thought it was really awesome to see him go out here and really have a good game. And having a running back like Saquon Barkley absolutely does not hurt the case, for sure. That's a damn fact right there. And Saquon had a day, man. I love what I'm seeing out of Saquon. He's a player I want back. I really want Saquon Barkley back. All right, let's get off into this next one. We got another overreaction to go over here. Now, look, man, for me, this was the man of the hour. I don't know what it is about Kayvon when he's at FedEx Field, but the two last times I've been at FedEx Field, Kayvon Thibodeau has had amazing games, man. This dude was celebrating. He was swagging. I knew he was going to get to the 10.5 sacks before he even got his first sack, because right off the bat, this dude was all over the quarterback. A lot of the time you seen Sam Howell trying to get rid of the ball quick, it's because Kayvon Thibodeau was beating Charles Leno to the outside damn near on every play. I started to focus on Kayvon Thibodeau's rushes, right? He never was going inside. He felt that he could beat Charles Leno to the outside on every snap. And literally, Leno would reach for the punch. Kayvon was just hitting that punch out the way every time. Kayvon Thibodeau is now tied for 5th in the NFL in sacks, okay? 3 quarterback hits, 2 tackles for losses in this game. The first player in the Wink Martindale scheme to get the double-digit sacks. He has 10 tackles for losses on the season. The last 3 players, this stat really was like, whew. The last 3 players to have 10 or more sacks over the first 11 weeks of a season within their first 2 years in the NFL. Michael Parsons did it in 2022. He had 10.5. TJ Watt did it in 2018. He had 10. And Kayvon Thibodeau has now done it in 2023 with 10.5. So y'all wanted Kayvon Thibodeau to be in the company of these guys who are the perennial pass rushers in the NFL. You got your wish, man. Big shout out to the homie Kayvon Thibodeau out here getting to it, man, getting to the quarterbacks. And eventually that's going to get Kayvon Thibodeau to a big-ass bag. I promise you that. I forget the homegirl's name. Oh, she's an MC. She got a record with Dame Lillard, Dame Dollar, right? And she said, I need a bag to put the bag inside the bag. I like that. I like that. Kayvon Thibodeau working his way to the bag one time, man. And he was swagging too, man. He even said in the press game conference He said, he told that Charles Leno that before the end of the first half, he told him thank you. And Charles Leno said, for what? And he said, for getting me to 10.5 sacks. Could you imagine being Charles Leno? The disrespect, man. Shout out to Kayvon Thibodeau, man. That's major, man. Now, this tweet comes from your boy, Awthentik. I said this morning, and I saw my Twitter mentions is going wild. I ain't had a chance to really check back into that. I said, doesn't matter what happens from here on out. Kayvon has 100% lived up to the 5th overall pick. And I best not see nobody in this chat saying that this is an overreaction. Because this is spot on. This is accurate. This is a dart right here. And I see Forever NYG says he agrees. Yo, Big Dog Status says the defense is too far from being elite. I think I'm gonna try to correct this for Big Dog. We've been chatting it up a little bit. I think he says not to. I think you mean not too far from being elite. Isn't exactly, and he corrected it. That's a fact right there. That's a fact, man. This defense has great young pieces on it, man. And I talked about this as early as week 3. I talked about this. The building blocks on this defense. Deonte Banks, Jason Pinnock, yes, Xavier McKinney, who had an incredible game. I'm going to go over some of his numbers as well. Bobby O, Micah McFadden, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Azeez Ojulari, who could be a depth piece for sure. Who else am I missing here? Am I missing anybody? I even think Jordan Riley could be a piece moving forward on this defense. Trey Hawkins, he been getting burned a little couple times here and there, but I think he's a piece moving forward. We got players on this defense. This rebuild is going to be concentrated on the offense. That's where it's going to be, 100%. So I don't think we got to go too crazy into these votes here. I just kind of want to see what y'all saying. You know what I'm saying? I want to see who's making some good points here. I see Thunder 404 is in the building. He says depth is such an underrated thing in the NFL. Just this season proves that. That's why I think the Giants will sign more depth guys than top-end talent come free agency. That's a good point, man. It's a good point. And when you look at this defense, I think we got guys that are in their trajectory is heading towards being those elite guys, those first stringers that you can rely on. But you got to address depth. That's super important. Shout out Thunder 404. That's definitely a great point right there. Simeon says that Saquon stated last week that he learned a hard lesson about loyalty. There is none. That's why I brought that up. And like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you Saquon Barkley's looking at some authentic video. I'm not saying that. But that was my key point in that video, that I will take respect every time over loyalty. When people respect you, respect comes with a certain level of fear about not disrespecting you. Loyalty is like, oh, man, it's like a dude could be loyal to his pregnant wife and be like, you look beautiful today, which is the right thing to say, by the way, right? But at the same time, he might be lying to her. He might be lying to her, right? And you don't want that from your organization on a football team. You look at your players, you should respect these guys. And if you respect them, you will take care of them a certain way because you don't want to disrespect them. And I think that was there was a lack of balance there with the New York Giants front office and with how they mismanaged and how they handled Saquon Barkley. So I'm right there with you on this. And I was talking about that point because I saw that in that press conference and I was like, damn, Saquon talking about loyalty, man. Like, I had to learn that the hard way, man. Like, when I was younger, I used to always say loyalty over respect. My older brother taught me that. He was like, nah, it's definitely not no loyalty over respect, bro. You got to go with the respect. When people respect you, they're going to treat you with respect. Just because somebody's loyal to you, that does not mean that they're going to treat you with respect. But that's a good point you bring up right there, Simeon. I definitely appreciate that. Kevin the PRF is in the building. What's going on, fam? Hope all is well as it can be after the Commanders suffered that major loss. He said, I wouldn't pay Saquon not because of his talent, but the value of the position. Think about Vikings trying to build around Peterson or Sanders and the Lions or Herschel Walker in Dallas. Half of those instances, more than half, are all before the CBA. Herschel Walker was ridiculous. The Dallas Cowboys traded everything they had to get Herschel Walker when he was a bit old, like not older, but he was aging. The thing about Saquon Barkley is, like, there are wide receivers out here that make $10 million. Corey Davis was making $14 million a year and entered the year and retired, my dude. You got low-level second-string wide receivers making $10 million a year. Like, what is $10 million to the running back position when Saquon Barkley leads your team in every offensive statistical category known to man? Like, I don't understand why people look at the running back position like it's going to cripple a team's salary cap. It's $10 to $15 million a year. We just paid Daniel Jones $40 million. He's got less total touchdowns than Saquon Barkley does. You got guys out here that are like, what position is less valuable than the running back? Like, think about that. To me, that's more of a reason that when you find a guy like this, you go and pay him. Like, everyone always likes to bring up the whole running back by committee thing like it's extremely easy. Like, look at Brian Robinson for the Washington Commanders. He was your offense yesterday. Everything literally was running through Brian Robinson. Let me look at the box score so I don't just talk out of my ass here about Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson had 17 of the 28 carries for the Washington Commanders. He had 73 yards on 17 carries, and then he was their leading pass catcher with 7 receptions for 58 yards on 9 targets. He was your most targeted pass catcher on the field. Let's not also ignore the fact that running backs have the most responsibility on the field outside of the quarterback on the offensive side of the ball. You got to sit up on this, yo. Your left tackle just got to protect your quarterback, but he is very important because if your quarterback gets hurt, that can ruin and derail a season. We've seen that time in and time out, right? So paying a left tackle big top dollar, which is so much more than what you're going to pay a running back, is absolutely necessary. But Saquon Barkley has to go out there and know all the coverages. He has to know all the routes. He has to be able to run his own routes. He's got to be able to run the ball and get you first downs. You want your quarterback, you want your running back to have a success rate on first down, second down, third down, fourth down, right? When you get to third and short, when you get to goal line situations, who are you going to rely on? That running back. Your team is a perfect example that if y'all did not have Brian Robinson right now, y'all are going to even lose more games than y'all have lost this season already. Running backs are so important to what happens on the offensive side of the ball. Fans are being convinced that the running back is no longer important because you see teams like the Cleveland Browns go out there and draft a guy like Nick Chubb and have incredible success not drafting a running back in the first round, which I agree with. But that does not mean that when you have a guy on the roster and you found out he was a guy, you part ways with him. It's nothing to pay a running back Corey Davis's contract in this market. I get it. After you pay your quarterback franchise quarterback money, you want to try to pinch the dollars and try to figure out a way to put the best team around him. No one can sit here and tell me that having Saquon Barkley in the backfield is not the best thing for Daniel Jones. You think that Daniel Jones is going to be able to run this RPO and this read option when you do running back by committee with guys like Matt Breida? Matt Breida had 3 carries for -1 yards this past Sunday. Getting to the factor of being running back by committee is not easy. People think that that's some easy thing. They think that like Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb just landed in the Cleveland Browns' lap. Who else has a successful running back by committee? I would say the Atlanta Falcons have a pretty decent running back by committee with Tyler Algier and what's my man? Why is his name slipping my mind right now? Bijan Robinson. But there are not teams out here that really have like running back by committee and they're like top of the league in rushing right now. I think the Chicago Bears are another good example of running back by committee with Khalil Herbert and Deontay Foreman, who's a guy that I've been begging for the New York Giants to bring in, right? But even when you look at Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt with the Cleveland Browns, when you total up their salary, it equals to what Saquon Barkley is being paid anyway. My thing is, look, if you find a running back in the late rounds, that's great. I'm not mad at teams for reaching on a running back in the 3rd round, 4th round, you know, like the Giants tried to do with Eric Gray this year. But we cannot sit here and act like running back is not important. The position from a financial standpoint has been devalued. But on the field, every team needs a good running back. Every team needs a good running back. Could you imagine the Kansas City Chiefs without Isaiah Pacheco? Granted, he was drafted in the 6th round. But they had to go through Clyde Edwards-Helaire being drafted in the 1st round to find a guy in the 6th round when the 1st-round guy didn't work. If Clyde Edwards-Helaire worked, they would have stuck with that. Look at the Pittsburgh Steelers right now with, what's my man, Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris. They had to draft Najee Harris in the 1st round, and it didn't work out. Najee Harris is starting to look like a really average running back. Although his statistics have barely gone up every year, people are looking at him like he's regressing. Running back by committee is not easy. It's not an easy thing. And when you get a superstar running back like a Saquon Barkley or a CMC, like just imagine if CMC was a New York Giant and people were like, yeah, we should just let dude walk next year. That dude went 14 straight games with a touchdown. He makes your offense better, and it costs you about what a second or third string wide receiver could cost you in this league. A high-end second stringer, I'll say, right? There are plenty of wide receivers out there right now that are making – Odell Beckham makes more money than Saquon Barkley, and Odell Beckham just had his first touchdown last week. Come on, yo. Come on, man. We cannot – my advice to fans who have this thinking that, like, running back doesn't matter, like, just stop getting brainwashed by what the media is telling you. Just use your eyes, man. The two running backs on the field on Sunday were the best players for each offense. Simple as that. Simple as that, yo. It's super important to have a good player at running back. And get your good players however you get them. I think that people are still like hung up on this thing that Saquon Barkley was drafted number 2 overall, and they're just like, oh, we got to get rid of him because of that. The dude lived up to the pick. You could look at the injuries and be like, oh, man, he was definitely injury prone for a couple of years there. But anyone who thinks that Saquon Barkley did not live up to the pick, that's wild thinking right there. He's on your roster now. Now it don't matter where he was drafted. It really doesn't. And I see Simeon Takeo says, you play Saquon exactly the way Marshall Faulk was used. Oh, my God. That Marshall Faulk is probably the best hybrid running back that the National Football League has ever seen. And I totally agree with you on that. That's how you should use him. Like, use him in the passing game. I want the Giants to bring in another running back, but I don't want them to get rid of Saquon Barkley. Not like this. Not the way that this team is very dependent on Saquon Barkley at the running back position. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's a good point you bring up, though, Simeon. Let me see. Crypto Move says, Giants never really got comfortable running the screen. If they did, Barkley's receiving yards would be through the roof. That's a fact. That's a fact. And when they have tried to run the screen plays in the past, it hasn't worked out well. You know, but they got to find a way to make those plays work. And what I liked about this game is they used some misdirection. They used a lot of misdirection to then get Saquon the ball in the passing game. I thought it was amazing. CJR 1881. This just is, I mean, this is just wow. I just want the people to see this. This is just wow. Yeah, that's wild. And he said, trade him. We'll trade him to your team. I'm sure you probably would like him out there. That's a fact. Let me see. Yes, Kayvon had pressure all day. Look, seeing it from the stands, Leno had no stand. He had no chance. He had no chance in this fight. He was being dominated throughout the whole entire game. I challenge anyone to go back and look at every play from this game and show me how many times Sam Howell rolled to his left. And if you know Sam Howell and this Washington Commanders offense, when Sam Howell bails out of the pocket, he loves to do that little thing that Mike Vick made famous. I will say that. I ain't see Steve Young was doing it a little bit too, where they peel out to their left side, they spin and peel out. Sam Howell was not doing that because Kayvon Thibodeau was dominant the whole entire day. Yeah, and I agree with you on that, Kevin. Leno is definitely some trash. Y'all got to find a way to get a left tackle in this draft for sure, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Host of Horrors say he taking the under. Dude is going to have 15 sacks. He could get there, man. What we got? We sitting at 3-8 right now. So we got 6 games left. He could get there. He's going to be close to 15, I think. I hope that he can, because he has had some lulls this season because I think he went 2 games with no sacks before this. The Giants went 2 games with no sacks, I believe, before this as an entire unit. So he just got to build on this. Stay consistent, man. I think he can get to that 15. Thunder 404 is taking the push. He says, he certainly has been worthy of the top 5 picks so far, but to say it doesn't matter what happens from here on out is a stretch. It's only his 2nd year, and he has a ton of football ahead of him. The reason why I don't think it's a stretch is because living up to the pick is what you do in the immediate future. A lot of people look at the first 2 seasons of a player, and that's when they're going to label you a bust. To me, Kayvon Thibodeau has put pen to paper 100%, so I can't even take the push on this. I got to go, look, I'm taking to you. This is my statement. Kayvon has lived up to it. From here on out, there's only a few things that could derail Kayvon Thibodeau's career, and I just don't see it happening. From here on out, I think Kayvon Thibodeau is going to get better. Imagine when he starts to get more into his NFL body. I think he's going to get even better, and he'll start to show some bull rush and start to be a stronger defensive pass rusher as well once he gets that body underneath him as well. Let me see. Corey Pate say he taking the under. This is the guy I envisioned him to be. Can't wait to see his future with this organization. This D is different than Oregon, but he does exactly what he's asked to do. Yeah, that's facts. Yeah, He was definitely a force to be reckoned with when he was at Oregon as well. Zeke says he's taking the push, but I'm all in, pause, on the homie. Says he is doing his thing. That's a fact right there. Kevin taking the push as well. Max Custom Kicks said absolutely. John says, I agree, taking the under, but my MVP on this defense is Bobby Okereke. Bobby been going crazy. Bobby been going absolutely crazy, yo. Now, I want to take this moment with this comment up here to talk about this. So a lot of people, right, they want to evaluate the young talent, but they also don't want to get the victories, and I think that's really condescending. Deontay Banks held McLaurin to 5 receptions for 43 yards. Dane Belton had the forced fumble on the day, and he was in on a bunch of tackles. Kayvon, I don't got to say much, Kayvon. But Bobby O, Micah McFadden, and Xavier McKinney, they combined for 34 tackles, man. Like, they were all over the field all day, and this is the Xavier McKinney that we wanted to see throughout the entire season. Bobby O had 14 tackles in this game. That's now 3 straight games with double-digit tackles. Xavier McKinney had 12. Micah McFadden had 8. Just a great day by the guys that we want to lead our defense. We talked about lack of leadership on this team. Bobby O is showing you that he can lead this team by example, and I think the longer he's within this locker room, you're going to start to see the vocal leader as well. Xavier McKinney has always been the vocal leader. When you saw Brian Dable in the locker room giving his speech, talking about not quitting, you know, that this is a good team, I had to rewind it back. When Brian Dable told the team in the locker room, he said, yeah, this is a good team. I was like, my first reaction was like, I had an overreaction, all right? I was like, but it's not a good team. And I started thinking about it. 2 games left out there. Buffalo, the Jets game, left out there. A couple other matchups that you might have been able to capitalize on. The blowout to the Raiders is just like an anomaly to me. I was just like, how are they beating us like this? This is a team that we should have went out there and competed with. And I think with Brian Dable saying that, he's placing a lot of the emphasis on himself, that the reason why the Giants are not at least a good team this year has a lot to do with the way that this team has been coached up, and also has a lot to do with these injuries. So when I doubled back, I started to feel more like this is a good team. I really did. Like, they haven't showed it. You got to go with the Bill Parcells quote. You are what your record says you are. So they're technically not a good team. But I think that what Brian Dable is instilling into this defensive unit and this locker room, just in general, is that keep playing for each other, keep playing hard. And if Brian Dable can't lose this locker room, this will be the foundation of a good team moving forward. I truly believe that. Let me see. Jonathan Studio says he's taking the under. Only Randy Moss's punk-ass son slowed KT5's ascension. Okay, I feel you on that. Let me see. Forever NYG said not an overreaction, but I would like him to have better games against the better tackles in the league, or the league has. But it's just his second year, so he's doing great. Kayvon now has 22 sacks in 2 seasons. Holy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets says he's taking the under. Kayvon Thibodeau is definitely trending in the right direction. I'm for sure rooting for him. Yeah, man. I mean, people have been questioning Kayvon Thibodeau since day one. You know, oh, the personality. This guy says all the right things, but he's not doing it on the field. The old WFAN nonsense and all that. Kayvon been out there. Thunder 404 says, fun fact, Okereke is top 5 in the league for tackles. 3 straight seasons now for Okereke with over 100 tackles, too. Out there. He's definitely out there. Let me see. This dude is just saying the craziest shit in this chat. This is a troll right here. Major troll right here. That is funny. Let me see what else we got. Sebastian said he's solidifying himself as a young star. Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact. Can I? Yeah, let's do this. Let's just, y'all know I don't deal with the trolls too well over here, man. I don't deal with the trolls well. And y'all, I see y'all giving attention to it. Y'all only got to give attention to it. Sebastian said people act like replacing a star running back is easy. The Giants without 26 is nothing on offense. We have no threats in the backfield or any type of intimidation if he's not on the field. It's a fact, bro. That's definitely a fact, bro. Most definitely. Zach G said Tommy DeVito found Barkley as a receiver, something that Jones hasn't done. Yeah, that's facts, man. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's like a bit of the game plan. you know, with the restrictions at the quarterback position, kind of forcing Brian Dable and Mike Kafka to have to use Saquon Barkley in the pass attack. But I hope they learn something from this. I really do hope they learn something from this. Titanium is Magical said the running back position will always be important, playing in the windy Meadowlands area. MetLife has no open ends like Philly, Chicago, and New England. The winds come in from the top and swirl to the bottom. That's another good point. Let me see. Odell Perry Pittman says he agrees. Total facts. Totally facts. I feel you on that too. Let me see. Cavey says, we lucked up with Brandon Jacobs and Bradshaw both being dogs. That's why we got 2 chips with them. Yeah, and when you look at the 2011 season with both of them on the roster, the Giants' rushing offense was ranked 32nd in the entire NFL, averaging only 88 yards per game with those 2 guys. They did get hot when we got in the playoffs, and we could rely on them. And I think that's the thing. Sometimes the Beard is always talking about this. Like, it don't matter. Just keep running the ball. And those 2 guys are definitely an example of that, right? Like, you just commit to the run. Brandon Jacobs, you knew was going to crack one open, or he was going to wear down these defenses and make things easier for everybody else on that offense moving forward. So, yeah, I'm totally with you on that, man. We got 2 chips on the back of this running game, on the back of the quarterback, and on the back of that defensive, that pass rush. That pass rush was amazing. Keith Wilson Jr. is in the building. What's going on, fam? Hope all is well. He says, salute. Somehow convinced my queen to spend her birthday at her first NFL game yesterday with me. Shout out NY, LOL. To your point, Gus Edwards. And, oh, yeah, what's my man? Keaton Mitchell. Yeah, they're definitely good running back by committee. But don't ignore the fact that they got Lamar Jackson at quarterback. I've always said that with Jalen Hurts, he makes the backfield that much better, whether it's Miles Sanders, whether it's who's the kid there now? DeAndre Swift. Who's my man that just always destroys the New York Giants? I don't know why I can't think of his name. That bowling ball for a running back. That dude definitely. Even why am I having I'm having a reach for these names right now. What was my man? Was it Jordan Howard? He had success in the backfield with Jalen Hurts. So I think it's like if you have a great running quarterback, that's it's like one hand wash the other. It makes the running backs a little bit better. I think that Justin Fields does that in Chicago as well, but that's a good point you bring up, that they're a great running back by committee. And it seems like even before that, you had Justice Hill over there as well doing a good job. They got rid of my dude. I'm having a reach for names today. My dude that was from Denver, I can't remember my guy's name, but they ended up cutting him and whatnot. But he had some fumbling issues when he was with Denver and ended up cutting him. But yeah, I do think that the quarterback makes him a little bit better one time. Yeah, Cavase, this is good advice. Shout out Mac, the Giants fan, one time in the building. He says teams need to pay players based on their value to their given team, regardless of the position. Thank you for taking all that I said and just summing it up into one great sentence. It's great advice right there. Like, we got to stop letting the NFL, because of the way that they do contracts, dictate what we see on the field from a productivity standpoint. It's ridiculous, man. Let me see what else we got. Thunder 404 dropping these gems one time said, look at Tiki. He was a second-round pick and a legit running back for the Giants for the longest time. Even in his last few seasons, he had crazy stats. You could argue that Tiki's last season was his best season. That dude was balling out, man. I remember that last game against Washington. He went absolutely crazy. The thing about Tiki is he's from an era where they allowed you time to develop. It's so wild. It's so parallel to the music industry for me, because the music industry was built upon letting artists develop before you threw them to the wolves and put their music out. Tiki fumbled for like 6 years, yo. He was like a third down running back early on and whatnot, and a punt returner and stuff like that. But the dude definitely dealt with fumbles for like 6 straight seasons. And then Tom Coughlin finally got him right. That won't happen this year, in this day and age in the NFL. That definitely doesn't happen. But, yeah, you can find running backs in the second round, third round, fourth round. But my thing is, like, when you got a running back, you should not let him go until that answer is solved. And I said that earlier this year. Like, okay, if Eric Gray shows you he's a guy, then you can find a way to kind of part ways with Saquon Barkley. Not the case. Eric Gray, I remember when Saquon was, like, threatening to hold out, and they were talking about all the franchise tag. There were so many Giants fans that were like, we got Eric Gray. Nah, fam. Nah, bro. I see no Mets, no Nets is kind of like looking at me a little sideways off the banning the homie. Dog, you're not gonna come in here and troll us. That's how this community is the way it is already. We're not dealing with the trolls, my guy. Not gonna happen. Yo, y'all are fun. Y'all are funny in the chat one time. Y'all are definitely funny in the chat. Yeah, but as far as this giant overreaction, yeah. To me, Kayvon's lived up to it. His first 2 seasons on paper looking amazing. 22. The dude is just, and let me correct myself. It's not 22. It's 17 and a half. My bad. 17 and a half sacks in the 2 season. I was getting confused with Ojulari one time. Nah, he wasn't, bro. He wasn't. He was saying trade Dexter Lawrence and all that. He was not serious, my guy. He was not serious. Come on. I know I'm an OG, but I'm young enough to understand when people are in a chat trolling. Lou Mateo in the building one time. What's going on, fam? Hope all is well, man. My man Ben Ball using the chat. Hey, Ben, I hope you off, man, because when I sign off, I'm hopping on some Apex 1,000%. Who's playing quarterback next year? I think if Daniel Jones is healthy to start the year, he will start the year as the starting quarterback for the Giants. I really do think that, unless, something miraculous happens in minicamp, you draft a rookie and he's just showing you, hey, he is completely that guy, and there's no reason to start Daniel Jones. But I think Jones will be the starter next year. I think he's going to rehab fine, come back, be healthy, start the first couple of games. If things start to go left, I think we'll see a rookie. We'll see how that goes. But shout out my homie, man. That's my day one right there, Ben Ball. You was popping, fam. Boston Scott, thank you for bringing that up for me, y'all. And Melvin Gordon. This is why I got y'all, man. This is why I got y'all. That's a fact. All right, so I got one more giant overreaction before we get up out of here. Shout out to Independent Outsider too, man. Been showing a lot of love on the channel. Appreciate the $4.99 super chat. He says, Shane will pick up players. Need a quarterback, but if we keep winning, we still build. Hell, maybe we effed up and stumbled into our backup with DeVito. McCarthy, I like what you're saying about DeVito. If he continues to play like this, because he's going to get the opportunity to finish out this season, I think at least play a couple more games. I'd say he's got at least 3 more games he's going to play. I'm cool with DeVito being the backup next year if he, continues to ascend. I don't want J.J. McCarthy as a quarterback. J.J. McCarthy, to me, of all the quarterbacks right now, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if anyone is going to be a bust type of quarterback and look like a Davis Webb or something like that, I think that's written all over J.J. McCarthy. That's just my opinion on it right now. James Hollister says, DeVito, but to save DJ's job, how that makes sense. That's the weird part. Is like Tommy DeVito might save Daniel Jones' job. If we get to the point where we're picking, like, I don't know, let's say 11, 12, do the Giants not draft a quarterback in the first round? That's going to shock the fan base. I definitely don't want to be here on draft night for that one. I think we got to go out there and absolutely come away with a quarterback in the first round. Ben Ball, you said, what about Jacoby Brissett? I think that would have been a better move entering this season. I don't want to pay top backup money again. Yeah, we paid Tyrod Taylor five M's to come over here a year. And I think Jacoby Brissett, veteran that he is, he's probably going to demand at least a couple million, probably $3 million, maybe $4 million a year. And what was the deal with you guys? Was Jacoby Brissett on a 1-year deal? I don't think Jacoby's on a 1-year deal, is he? Yeah, an Independent Outsider says McCarthy does have one hell of an offensive line. Yeah, that whole scheme just helps him out, I feel like. I don't know, man. McCarthy, I haven't done my deep dive on the quarterbacks yet. I've just been watching on Saturdays and whatnot. But I want to go in and look at some tape and, really come to a conclusion, like where I can study mechanics and really see. Like even when I was at the game yesterday, a lot of the stuff that I was filming with my camera, because I can zoom in like pretty damn close. Like I could show you DeVito like in the frame with just the center, left guard, right guard, and that's it. Like I could get that close to them. And a lot of the reason why I'm looking at, zooming in that close is because I just want to see mechanics. I was doing it with Sam Howell too. And both of them showed really good mechanics in this game, but I got to do the same and do, give myself due diligence and look at the college quarterbacks the same way. You think he got 8 with y'all, $8 million a year? I don't think so. I don't think it was that high. I think got $8 million total. Look into it on Sport Rack, Ben, and let me know. I hope you off too, bro. I really do, because I want to talk about this game with y'all. All right, let's get off into this last overreaction one time. I see Zach G brought up a good point too. DeVito scans the field, sometimes he does it a little bit too long. Yeah, he's looking for that play to open up. I think a lot of backup quarterbacks do that. I really do. Flemdog said, what's up, Awthentik? Who's your guy at quarterback if we can get one? If I got, number one pick, get to select whoever I want Caleb Williams. I think I might go Jaden Daniels over Drake May, not as a prospect, but as the style that I see fit for what's going on in New York. I want to bring back Saquon Barkley. I want to see Saquon Barkley with a true, absolute mobile quarterback. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, that would look awesome. Even Jalen Daniel out of Kansas. If you go second, third, fourth, maybe fifth round pick, I don't know. That kid got some legs over there. And a fan with a mic also said Jaden Daniels is also a dog. Yeah, man. I like what I'm seeing out the kid. He only got like an NFL body. Like, he looks very slender still. He looks like he's under 200 pounds. But if you get that kid with an NFL body, bulk him up, get him out there looking like Lamar Jackson. Shout out to my homie Bass, who's the first person I saw comparing Daniels to Lamar Jackson. I think that would be an amazing pairing to have like a Saquon Barkley, possibly another year with a guy like Waller, maybe bring in another draft pick at the wide receiver position and some offensive line, get another edge rusher in this draft, and just keep building this team up. Back-to-back Charlotte quarterbacks is insane. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I'm definitely with you on that. All right, let's get to this last overreaction. Since y'all want to talk about the draft a lot here, this one is definitely going to be talking about the draft, so let's chop it up and talk about it. All right, y'all. This one comes from my homie, my good homie, man. Shout out to homie Melly Dope one time. Always keeping it funky. He's a savage on Twitter. This dude be definitely going at it with a lot of our fan base. He says the Giants will win one more game this season. We'll have the number 2 overall pick, and we'll draft their franchise quarterback. Let me know how y'all feeling about this one. And if you want to throw in some college names out there, any quarterback talk y'all want to talk about, we can do that too. Let me make sure I got all the super chats out the way as well. Got Keith. Got Independent Outsider. Got my man Sebastian. Salute to y'all, man. I appreciate y'all supporting the channel. Y'all know what it is, man. And appreciate all of y'all in the chat rocking out with me on your Monday, your Victory Monday afternoon, man. 2:42 on a Monday afternoon, man. I wouldn't be nowhere else, man. Y'all know what it is. Win, loss, draw. I ain't one of these dudes that's just peeking out. I saw a lot of y'all come back. Y'all know who y'all are. I saw a lot of y'all come back on Twitter. I saw you, Entertainer. I saw you, Mal. I saw y'all. Y'all get the victory, want to peek back out through the curtains and whatnot. I'm here, dog. WL or a tie against the Commanders. It does not matter. I'm going to be here on a Monday afternoon rocking out with y'all talking New York Giants football, man. Big salute to all of y'all in the chat, man. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Man, the chat just goes like poof, and it's like 100 votes come in, man. Salute to y'all for the engagement, man, and rocking out today. James Hollister says that Daniels is more Hurts than Lamar. I'm going to tell you why I don't think more Hurts, because Hurts is like the one quarterback that like the lower half of his body is built differently. He's built like a running back. Very low to the ground type of runner when he's running as a quarterback. I think Jaden Daniels is more like Lamar when it comes to running, crafty, but not as dynamic. Definitely not as dynamic as a Lamar Jackson. Maybe like I can't say as dynamic as a Justin Fields either. Justin Fields had a day. I don't know if y'all saw Justin Fields on Sunday. That boy had a day. Too bad his team couldn't come out with the victory, man. They always find ways to lose games in the fourth quarter. It was a great comeback by the Detroit Lions, though. Let me see. Gregory taking the under. Crypto Move says it's a push. He said, I hope so. I sure do. He wants that. He wants that number 2 pick. At least that number 2 pick. Deedon Shelton says he's taking the push. That's too many unknowns. I feel you on that. A lot of pushes. Push is smart on this, I think, too. Corey Pate taking the push says we will ultimately see when it comes. Let me see. Simeon Toko says he's taking the push. They might beat the Patriots and the Packers. That's a fact. Hyphen Wade. I did not think I was going to see this many pushes. Hyphen Wade taking the push one time, too. Says, I don't root for losses, as we all shouldn't. We just need to put our best effort forward, and hopefully we still are in the running for some of these guys. I'm right there with you, man. That's a good point right there. Chris Peace taking the push. We'll draft a quarterback, not necessarily will be the 2nd overall. I'm with you on that. Let me see. James Hollister says, nope. Cavey says, LOL, right. My man Brian is in the building one time. He says he's taking the push. I haven't had time to look at quarterbacks other than Caleb. I imagine that is or CB Stats, college football stats possibly, for the past couple years. Yeah, man, you know, there's so many content creators that when the draft is about to come up, I suggest you check these people out. Thinking Football is one of them. The other one is absolutely JT O'Sullivan with the QB school. He's going to do deep dives, and you have a reputable source talking about his opinion on it. That's what I love about JT's content. As soon as we get a little bit closer to April, keep your eyes on the quarterback school. Make sure you're subscribed up there. Tell him I sent you, man. It's a great channel. Independent Outsider says it's an overreaction. We have a chance to beat the Pats and Green Bay. No way in hell we get another division win. Yeah, we're sitting at 2-2 in the division. That's surprising. That's surprising. But I feel you on that. I don't know. Like, the Carolina Panthers look like a really terrible team. But then outside of that, you're banking on the Patriots probably getting the number 2 pick. I think the Giants have, like, pretty much locked up at least a top 5 pick at this point. Shout out Ronnie Rivers in the building. Says, I'm happy we won. I'm right there with you. All of us over here celebrating this Victory Monday has been amazing. Kevin the PRF taking the under. Well, you can't play the Commanders anymore. That's a fact. We definitely have owned y'all. Let me see. Ben Ballew says the Giants are going to win more than one. The Pats, the Packers, and the Saints coming up. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Those are winnable games. Definitely can attain some victories there. Why I thought the Giants were going to be 8-9 after starting out 2-6. They end up starting out 2-8. Lost some tough games there, and get their 3rd victory of the year. But these games do look like they could be some victories for me. You know, Patriots definitely. The Patriots look like one of the worst teams in football. And the way the Giants played, you know, on Sunday against the Commanders, they don't look like the worst team in football anymore to me. You know, a lot of these overreactions, I'd say for about 2 weeks straight, I talked about that. I was like, the Giants look like the worst team in football. The way that defense has been playing, it's every game that the offense plays pretty good in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Anytime the offense can do just a little bit of sustaining some drives, putting some points on the board, that Giants defense shows up. Flemdog says it's an overreaction. We're going to get another dub somehow. I'm right there with you. 59 Ways to Groove in the building. What's going on, fam? Glad you could pull up. Glad you rocking with us, my G. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets says it's an overreaction. How can we forecast that? That's so specific. And we definitely can't control how other teams play. Other teams could be in tank mode for real. It's a good point. It's a good point. I definitely agree with you on that. This is like trying to play Cleo the Psychic a little bit for sure. That saying we'll only win one more game, but damn, he might be right. He might be right. We'll see. James Jones taking the push one time. He said this team's got heart. Don't know how many games they will win. Hopefully 2 or 3 more games. Yeah, there'll be meaningless victories, right, if you only get to 2 or 3 more victories. This is how I want to see it. Giants are sitting at 8 losses. Win out. That's how I see it. You're not mathematically eliminated. Go out there and try to win out. Best case scenario. Will it happen? Probably not. But try to win as many games as you can. I don't think you can go out there and try to lose games, you know, as the players that are on the field. The front office seems to have, like, put them in a bit of a tough position to win games, but it is what it is. Next man up, go out there, try to win some games. 2 or 3, I want 4, 5, 6 or 7. Well, what we got? We got 6 left? Yeah, give me 6. Give me 6 victories. Let me see what else we got. Fan with a mic says he's taking the push. As long as the, let me see what that one says. As long as the win is in LA or the Pats. Okay. It is possible. The Cardinals will win some more games. We'll need Chicago to pull a couple out. Yeah, I think Chicago is going to get some victories. That game against Detroit should have been a victory. I don't got their schedule in front of me, but Chicago should probably win a good 2 or 3 more games, I think. Kareem Yee taking the push on this one. I see we beat the Patriots, but I think we will have to trade up to get our quarterback. Yeah, and I'm trusting Joe Shane to go out there and be able to handle that. Let me see. Max Custom Kicks. Yo, Max, hit me up on Twitter. I want to see what the Custom Kicks is all about, man. I'm all about the kicks, man. I'm a Nike Dunk head. That's all I rock for those Nike Dunks and Jordans. I want to see what custom kicks you rocking with. Or maybe it's custom kicks you rock yourself. But if you create custom kicks, hit me up on Twitter, man, at Awthentik. He says, I don't know. I think we can beat the Patriots and maybe trade up, but I don't think we have the second pick because there's too many trash teams in the NFL. That's a good point, man. Ooh, I love this right here. I love this right here. I love this right here. I love this right here, bro. You have no idea how much I love this right here. For those of y'all that don't know about Cordell Stewart, his nickname was Slash. This dude was like one of the first players that I saw. He played wide receiver, quarterback, tight end. They had him at running back. The dude, they called him Slash because he played every position. That is a great comp, bro. That is a great comp for an OG player, yo. 59 Ways to Groove representing the DMV. That is spot on right there. Even down to the build. The build of Daniels looks a lot like Cordell Stewart. And 59 Ways to Groove, I believe that was you that hit me up on Instagram that you were talking about that's your number one guy right now. You want to go out there and get Daniels. It'd be kind of crazy to go from Daniel Jones to Jaden Daniels. That would be awesome. That would be kind of awesome. Let me see. Jaden Daniels is like a faster Marcus Mariota. That's a good comparison, too. Like, Marcus Mariota got wheels. And Marcus Mariota was known for having decent arm talent. I think Jaden Daniels, that is a good comp, like a better Marcus Mariota. And I was a fan of Marcus Mariota coming out of this offseason. I wanted us to go out there and sign Mariota and let Daniel Jones walk. It would have been a way cheaper option with same results, to be honest. Forever NYG taking the push. I can see the Giants winning 2 more games because of the schedule right there with you. Brent said, we paying dues, win or lose, man. You know it, dog. You know what it is. You know what it is. Big shout out, man, to the homie Brent one time in the building. Zach G taking the push. My man Ben Ball, you said trade up for that top pick. Barkley a part of that trade? In my eyes, absolutely not. Barkley's not even on contract right now. So you would have to do some kind of tag and trade or, you know, some kind of contract situation first before you would trade. James Hollister said, is Cam Ward coming out? I believe so. I believe Cam Ward is coming out. His, the first 3 weeks of the year for Cameron Ward was like, damn, this dude's going to be an absolute first-round quarterback. His stock has definitely tanked the past couple of weeks. Trying to put that team on his back, man, that Washington State team. It's been tough for him. But Cam Ward absolutely has the winner capabilities, I feel like, that it factor of going out there and wanting W's. And I think he has great arm talent. He showed you he can run the ball. Like, I'm telling y'all, I want a quarterback that is truly a mobile quarterback. I'm sick of this pocket passer stuff. I want a guy that can go out there and run the ball and have the big arm. Like an Anthony Richardson type of prospect is perfect for me. I really wish we would have been the team that could have traded up last year and found a way to get Anthony Richardson, and that would have taken having to let Daniel Jones walk the previous year, brought in Marcus Mariota to pair with Anthony Richardson. That was my game plan all along. Yeah, and Simeon said the quarterback school is excellent. Facts. Stephen Bloom taking the push, a few mid-first round guys that make sense later. Was nice to see players playing well again. I'm right, man. That's all we could ask for. Like, it's good to see players playing well, and it's good to see us get a victory with those players, those young players playing well as well. Checking out what Sebastian said to Ben Ball, you hear. He said, I wouldn't do that, speaking on trading Saquon, just like the Panthers trading DJ Moore. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think those guys can be pieces. Let me see what else we got here. Mike B 15 in the building. What's going on, Mike B? Says, I've got a sick feeling Eagles lock up the top seed and rest their starters week 17 just to screw us out of a franchise quarterback. Okay, let me tell you why I don't think that's going to happen. Lately, okay, a lot of teams that get the number 1 seed, they have been reluctant to rest their players in the last week. And last year, the Philadelphia Eagles all but had the number 1 seed locked up. Jalen Hurts was coming back from injury, and they still played him. So I think, you know, Eagles are probably headed right towards another number 1 seed. San Francisco 49ers have kind of fell off a little bit. The Eagles are probably going to be battling it out with Dallas. I think Dallas is going to make a little bit of a late run here. You know, they got to see the Commanders, and they got a few tough games on their schedule in the last 3 or 4. But I think they'll make a run just like they did last year. Everything was on the line last year for the Dallas Cowboys against the Washington Commanders in week 17. And they could have won and had a couple of things go their way if the Eagles would have lost and a few other things. And the Cowboys could have locked up the number 1 seed. And the Eagles did not rest their starters in that game. I don't see it. When you rest your starters week 17, that means you're going to rest them for that week. And then they're going to be seated for 2 other weeks, right? Not playing football. That's 3 weeks, man, that you could just go cold. And then by the time you get to seeing, a team outside of the wild card round, you're not ready to play. So I think that the Eagles I don't think they're going to rest all their starters. We'll see what happens when it goes down. But I could all but guarantee you that the Eagles are not going to rest their starters. And my man Ben Ball, you telling me if you could trade DJ and Barkley for Caleb Williams right now, you wouldn't do it? It depends. It depends where I'm at. I would more consider a trade like that higher up in the draft, but nobody's going to trade for Daniel Jones right now. Like, who's going to trade for Daniel Jones? Dude's coming off a torn ACL, 2 neck injuries. Average play 5 seasons, been injured 4 out of 5 seasons, has had under 15 touchdowns 4 out of 5 seasons. Who's going to want that there? The contract is starter money. His dead cap hit is $69 million this year. I think it's $40 million as far as his cap hit. So are the Giants going to take upon the bulk load of that contract like they did for Leonard Williams, where they pretty much took on like 99% of the damn contract? Leonard Williams was owed $10 million. The Giants paid, I want to say they paid $9.6 million of the contract. 9.4. It was $9.4 million. And then the Seattle Seahawks got Leonard Williams for $600K for the year. No, ain't nobody trading. You think somebody's going to give away the first pick in the draft for Daniel Jones and Caleb Williams, my guy? Absolutely not. You would have to pair that with 2 first-rounders probably. Yeah, that ain't happening, Ben. It's not happening. Definitely not. Let me just catch this chat up just a little bit. I see the beard is in the building, man. What's going on, my brother? Feeling good today on this Monday, Beard. Tuesday's not going to be easy on you. I'm going to keep it funky with you. There's going to be a lot of this. Your boy Waterfly, hit me up in my DM on Instagram and said, take it easy on the beard this week. Do you think that made me want to take it easy on the beard this week? Absolutely not. I'm going to need you to put a sticky note right now on your laptop, Beard. Top left corner. Be happy, because it's going to be tough. This is my victory. This is my Super Bowl coming up on Tuesday. Make sure y'all pull up tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We get to hear how that roadmap went, which I bet the roadmap went pretty decent because the Commanders dominated us pretty much in every category in this game. Let me see where we at here. Okay, shout out No Mets, No Nets, No Jets one time in the building for the $2 super chat. He says, I don't think Mara would want Williams as the quarterback. I agree with you 1,000% on that, bro. Like, I do not see John Mara wanting a quarterback, especially a quarterback, let alone any player that exudes too much swag. He don't like that. But this has been a very testing season for the New York Giants. And I think when your reputation is on the line, everyone has a price. Maybe John Mara's price is going to be, sacrificing putting his stuff to the side to get the franchise quarterback for the Giants. If we go into this draft and we don't draft a quarterback in the first 2 rounds, I'm going to lose my mind, though. I will definitely say that. Independent Outsider, did I get to that? Yeah, I got to that super chat. Shout out to No Mets, No Nets, No Jets, those supporting the channel, and all you guys, man. I definitely appreciate that, man. All y'all rocking out with us on this Monday afternoon. Ronnie Rivers says, I think 3 different coaches ruined him. I'd say the quarterback ruined 3 coaches. You could argue that. Listen, it's been similar results with 3 different coaching regimes here. We're going to point at 3 different NFL head coaches. I don't know if we could do that. That would be wild. I don't know if we could do that. Let me see. Five Blizzard in the building said we could forfeit the game and Washington would still lose. Yo, the beard. It's going to be a tough Tuesday, bro. It's going to be a tough Tuesday. Ben Ball, you said that Del Rio should be the first one that gets fired. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with y'all. That game, I see a lot of Commanders fans on my social media today calling for jobs. I saw my homies from Ref the District said Ron Rivera should be fired. I see my good brother Benny talking about Del Rio. I've been seeing people saying that you can absolutely not give the head coaching job to Eric Bieniemy next season. This is coming in a game where you had 6 turnovers. 3 of them was fumbles. Ball security is not on the coaches. These interceptions, I see people kind of trying to make excuses for Sam Howell on the interceptions. The one that went to Isaiah Simmons, that's an awful interception. The second one that was to Nick McLeod, the ball was so off its target, it was ridiculous. Like, dude's open. When you run a post route like that, man, you got to throw that ball more towards the inside of the field, man, towards the center or the opposite sideline. He threw that thing back to the near sideline. That's why I got intercepted. So I don't know how much you can I don't know how much you can blame the coaches for this particular loss. I saw a statistic that the Giants were the only team ever to win a game where they forced 6 turnovers, scored over 30 points, and had their quarterback sacked 9 times. That has never happened. Them 6 turnovers was absolutely the reason why the New York Giants won this game. Because outside of that, I think the Commanders walk away from this with an ugly victory for sure. Let me see. Kevin the PRF says it's not Del Rio, it's Ron. Yesterday was the first time it looked like some of the team quit. You know, and what I question with this, Kevin, is like, all right, if it's not Del Rio, to me, Ron Rivera is a passenger to the Washington Commanders coaching staff right now. Like, what does he do? Is he really calling y'all defense? Like, y'all would know better than me. I thought Del Rio was the main guy as far as how the defensive philosophy and the coaching is being approached. We know good and goddamn well that Ron Rivera got nothing to do with that offense. That's Eric Bieniemy. And all that pass-happy, 68% of the time throwing the ball, all that's Eric Bieniemy. Ron Rivera, to me, definitely should have been fired, though. I thought last year he should have been fired. You know, just botching the quarterback position this many years in a row, it's been tough. A fan with a mic says, Daniel Jones was put into a bad situation. He's tired of it, he said. I missed the tired part. He said tired. Daniel Jones was put into a bad situation. Wired. Joe Judge was put into a worse one. They both made the situations worse. Damn. Was Joe Judge maybe fired a little bit prematurely, dealing with a quarterback like Daniel Jones? Because we know Pat Shurmur. Daniel Jones was Pat Shurmur's guy, absolutely, and Dave Gettleman's guy. It's tough that they couldn't fix him. Because I don't think Daniel Jones is some bad quarterback, but I think Washington needs to steal a piece of the script from the New York Giants. If your quarterback is not showing you that he has absolute elite characteristics, find a way to get out of that situation faster than slower. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. Big Dog Status said McLaurin is non-existent in that offense. Yeah, I mean, they've been spreading the ball around. He does get targets. That's the thing. He has not scored. Let me correct myself. He's scored 1 touchdown since week 2. He's not getting in the end zone. It's been tough for him. And I think that he is a extreme talent. I think Terry McLaurin is a dog. He's a great route runner, but he need that 1B. He need another wide receiver to take some attention off of him so he can go out there and do what he does. I Am Jarrell says, regardless of whose fault it is, the Giants need to draft a new quarterback. Yeah, that's facts. It don't matter who it is. It don't matter who it is. Go out there, whether it's Daniel Jones, Brian Dable, Joe Judge, Jason Garrett, Saquon Barkley, whoever you want to blame, Wink Martindale, whatever happens, the Giants need to go draft a quarterback. I'm right there with you, Jarrell. My man, the Beard, says he got hit on the second INT. He did. I get that. But I just don't understand why the ball was so far to the outside. He saw the pressure coming. He knows he's going to take a shot on that one. You know, it was almost like a deja vu moment for me. Because that post was ran right to our end zone, Beard, like right to where we were sitting. And it reminded me of the Daniel Jones, the one that was to Darius Slayton where it went off his fingertips. It looked exactly like it, the way that it developed. And he took a little bit of a shot there. But remember, on that play, Daniel Jones took a shot too. And Jones kind of overthrew it, but the ball should have been caught. The ball definitely should have been caught. Darius Slayton definitely dropped that. Let me see. The Beard also said, bro, there's so many first evers from that game. There are, man. That was a wild, like, you don't get to see a lot of games with 6 turnovers. That's just ridiculous. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And let me see. Kareem Yee said Tommy DeVito was on the verge of being sacked into oblivion while throwing darts. Big facts. Big facts. And I think that's the thing that Tommy DeVito has a little bit over a guy like Daniel Jones, and that's scary to say. He got that, like, I don't give a damn factor. And I think you need that in the NFL. You got to take care of the ball, obviously. But you got to have that I don't give a damn factor. Like, I'm going to, whatever it takes for me to win, even if I got to look like a damn clown out here and be embarrassed, I'm going to go out there and try to lead my team to a victory. Forever NYG says Joe Judge was awful, period. I mean, yeah, as an overall outlook of it, Joe Judge was bad. But I did like his approach. I liked his no-nonsense type of direction for the team, holding people accountable. And the first season looked okay. It just, yeah, things spiraled out of control, and he definitely didn't handle it well. So I got to agree with you on this one, man. This is not an overreaction, Forever NYG. Shout out No Mets, No Nets, No Jets. In the building one time for that $4.99 super chat. He says, people like Mara would much rather lose on their own terms than win on someone else's. Not drafting a quarterback like Williams, and DJ is a coach eater. Oof, man, that's just, as a quarterback, you would hate to hear that. And I know that teams around the league, taking it back to what Ben was talking about with the trade scenario, I know teams around the league are looking at it like, man, look, this quarterback got 3 head coaches, two of them fired, one of them on a hot seat. It has not worked with him. People after Brian Daboll overachieved were saying Brian Daboll's on a hot seat, and a lot of that's got to do with the way that the quarterback was playing. This is one of them truths that hurts, like badly. That's what it is, though. Because Daniel Jones will show you just enough to have you have faith in him. And then when you do that, he's going to completely rip your heart out with that by having inconsistent play. That's the number one thing with Daniel Jones. I don't know a quarterback in the league that has been more inconsistent through a rookie contract than Daniel Jones. It's unfortunate, man, because I really wanted to see that kid succeed. When I saw him his rookie year, I was like, oh, we got a guy. But it's only so long that you can look at a quarterback, keep making rookie mistakes, and he's not a rookie no more. And that's my advice for Washington Commanders fans out there with this Sam Howell situation, because Sam Howell looks like he's a good quarterback right now. But the thing that I'm worried about with Sam Howell, he is not showing me elite characteristics yet on a consistent basis. He's made some throws, man. That throw last week, I was like, golly. The 3rd and 10 throw to Diami Brown, I was like, whoa, that is NFL big boy stuff. He's going to have to continue to show that. And we'll see, the Commanders have been losing in the fourth quarter in a lot of games lately. So not only does Sam Howell enter this game with the most passing yards in the NFL, he also had the most attempts, the most completions. He's been throwing the ball a ton. His coach is not afraid to throw the ball. So we'll see how it goes. Ronnie Rivers says, so true. New ownership, they need to rebuild and develop a real culture. It's facts. I think Brian Daboll is taking the New York Giants culture and one-upping it. I love what he's been doing here. And I think Mike Kafka's a guy moving forward, too. You notice there's crickets today about Mike Kafka. There's no speculation about who was calling plays and blah, 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 right? Mike Kafka and Brian Daboll have a scheme that can work. And they showed a lot of creativity in this matchup. And I like that they trusted the quarterback, although be it he's a third stringer, they still trusted him to go out there and make plays with his arm. I love that. Instilling confidence in your players, man. And that's the way you keep the locker room together. Chris P says that Shermer was fired prematurely, but when Shermer left, he should have taken Jones with him. Yeah, Shermer went to Denver that year, and that might have been smart. But I think John Mara was so invested in keeping Daniel Jones around, and had they have fired the GM with Pat Shermer, that might have been an easier situation to handle. But because Dave Gettleman was here, I think Dave Gettleman wanted to prove that he was right in drafting Daniel Jones with the 6th overall pick in 2019. Gregory says, I've never seen a game where the team that gives up 6 turnovers and still end up winning the time of possession by 9 minutes. How does that happen? Look, when I went to the team stats in this game, I thought for sure time of possession was going to be the one that we dominated. Even being at the game, it did not feel like the Commanders dominated time of possession the way that they did. They won every statistical category, and I'll briefly go over these real quickly with y'all. It was crazy to me. Like, they had 28 first downs to the Giants' 13. They ran 77 plays to our 54. They had 403 total yards to our 292. 14 total drives to 12. Even the yards per play was pretty damn close. We beat them in yards per play by 0.2, 5.4 to 5.2. They had more passing yards, 229 to 201. Their quarterback he was 31 to 45, Sam Howell. Tommy DeVito was 18 to 26. Yards per pass, we beat them by a yard on that. The interceptions was major. 3 picks, you're not going to win like that. Sam Howell was sacked just 4 times. Tommy DeVito sacked 9 times. They almost doubled us in rushing. They had 174 rushing yards to our 91. And in penalties, the New York Giants had 5 for 33, and the Washington Commanders only had 1 penalty on the day. Both teams went throughout the whole entire first half without having a penalty. I thought that was great to see some clean football. And it's just really the 3 fumbles and the three interceptions, man. That's it. That's really, and I correct myself. The Giants did not have a turnover on the day, but the special teams had a turnover that they forced on the kickoff where Byron Pringle fumbled that. But to lose the time of possession battle, 34-51 to 25-09, that's not it. I don't know how. I don't know how. The 6 turnovers was major, definitely. And the Beard says 11 different receivers caught passes yesterday. It's crazy. That's been the story for Washington the whole entire year. You know, I want to see that number for the Giants too. The Giants had 8 wide receivers or 8 pass catchers catch a ball, and 2 of them are running backs, so 7 receivers. It's a good day, man. I liked what I saw out of Isaiah Hodgins, Wan'Dale Robinson, Daniel Bellinger. They were limited, you know, just 2 and 3 receptions, but like big plays, big third down plays when you needed them. And even on third down, the Giants were not that great. I want to say the Commanders beat us on third down as well. Let me get those statistics as well. It was third down efficiency. They barely beat us. They were 5 of 13. We were 5 of 14. Yeah, man. It was a tough day. It was definitely a tough day for Commanders because they beat us in every category. And really to just lose a game because you kept turning the ball over. And honestly, man, I do think that the referees were helping us out in this game. I think 2 of those fumbles, I really think the knee was down. The Chris Rodriguez one was a little sketchy. But outside of that, the Logan Thomas fumble, I thought for sure they were going to come back and overturn that call, and they didn't. I was so surprised. So, you know, I know a lot of Giants fans like to talk about the referees, you know, always against us and whatnot. Not in this game. Not in this game. Most definitely not in this game. Shout out to Yale Andrew. Says, one of the only creators, if ever heard, be real about Saquon, and you're 100% correct. Keep Saquon. Yo, I appreciate that, man. Like, Yale, I always try to just be like, even in life, yo, I'm a very like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like I try to have decent rationale, right? And the people who know me well, they know I will argue to the death of it, right? But I'm waiting for you to prove to me why I should jump off my stance. Even when it comes with football, I try to just be as rational as possible. That's how I look at it. Like, if you give me and you present to me on the table why we need to be getting rid of Saquon Barkley and it don't make sense to me, well, I'm not going to jump on your side of, hey, just because it's the cool thing to do or it's popular, people want Saquon Barkley gone. I'm not jumping on that. I look at it from a dollar's perspective, 10 to 15 million, even if it was 20 million. Like, dude, we paid Dexter Lawrence $20 million. And he was not doing jack on this field that would warrant $20 million. Saquon Barkley is the Giants offense. That's what it is. So I got to look at it from a realistic eye. That's how I got to look at it. I appreciate you for spotting that out, man. And I don't see Yale Andrew in these streams too much. But, bro, we definitely welcome you here, man, because this is a community of not only like-minded individuals, but we welcome all opinions here. We just don't welcome no trolling. I'm sorry, no Mets, no Nets, no Jets. I don't welcome no trolling. So I had to send dude off. He's talking about trade Dexter Lawrence, trade Kayvon, trade. Nah, we're not doing that here, bro. You can come in and pull up and look at the streams and whatnot, but you're not going to sit here and just troll everybody in the chat. But shout out to Yale Andrew, man. It's a good point right here. Definitely appreciate you pulling up, rocking out with us today, man. Let me see. I think that's for what no Mets, no Nets, no Jets said on his last super chat, I believe. Let me make sure. Oh, okay. So we got another one. Yes, they talking about no Mets, no Nets, no Jets super chat. That's facts right there. And Brian pulled up with another one. He said, I like Tommy D's moxie. On that one play, he got pissed at his O-line for almost not getting the snap off in time on the 4th and 1. Yeah, I did see that. He shows more emotion than DJ. Yes, and to me, that shows that you care more about the wins and the losses of this football team. 4th and 1, and I think they were going to either run a running play or a quarterback sneak. I can't remember. And they couldn't get the snap off, and he's clapping his hands like, man, get me that ball, and they don't get it to him. We end up getting, I think we got the timeout in before that happened. I believe they ended up redoing the 4th and 1. I can't remember how that all panned out, but that's a good point. That's a really good point, man. I want my players to care, man. I know some people be thinking like, oh, it's all business out there and it's all good for a quarterback to just go out there and, you know, not show too much emotion because we've been programmed by Eli Manning himself after getting 2 Super Bowls to be able to be a guy like that. No, man. I want my quarterback out there screaming at players. I want that Tom Brady energy, man, holding people accountable, knowing where everybody needs to be pre-snap, getting people lined up, getting them into position, and doing what's right for this team, not doing just what's right for the player. And, I heard my homie Sal say this on our stream when he pulled up. And if y'all missed that stream with Sal, go check that out. It was the last Giant Overreaction, actually. He said, a lot of people are trying to fix the Daniel Jones problem instead of trying to fix the New York Giants problem. And that's facts, man. That's big facts right there. Big shout out to the homie one time, Kefla, I think I'm saying that right, for the $5 super chat. Says, do you think DeVito has the potential to be better than DJ? It's a two-sided coin for me. When it comes to the intangibles to play the quarterback position, Daniel Jones absolutely has the edge. Forget the edge. It's a large margin. He's a better quarterback when it comes to the skill set. But I like the moxie from a guy like Tommy DeVito. But I think I'd be doing myself and Daniel Jones a disservice to say that Tommy DeVito could be a better quarterback than him. I'm going to go ahead and say no. I don't think he has the potential just yet. But it's been a small sample size. We've seen like 1.5, maybe 2 games of like really bad play from Tommy DeVito. And we saw a game yesterday against the Commanders where he played good football. He didn't play great football. A lot of the stuff was open and schemed up for him well, and the Washington Commanders gave us those alley-oops and that opportunity to be able to do it. I think that Tommy DeVito right now, to me, his comp would be like a Gardner Minshew. Like, he can make some throws. He looks like he can be a quarterback that can win you some games, but I don't think he shows you anything that would warrant starting quarterback type of potential. And Daniel Jones, in his best years, showed you the potential to at least be a starting quarterback. So I can't go there as far as saying DeVito has the potential to be better than Daniel Jones. But you never know, man. That's why they go out there and they play the game. But a big shout out to you, man. I appreciate you supporting the channel, man. And I don't see Kefla, I think I'm saying that right, in the chat too much, man. But appreciate you pulling up, man. If you digging the vibes today, man, hit the subscribe button. Tell somebody, hey, this kid Awthentik and the beard, they got a good thing going over there on their channel, man. And salute to everybody in the chat for rocking out with us today for 2 hours, man, on this Giant Overreaction. It was definitely a vibe. Good W for the New York Giants, man. Yes, Ben. The wheel route was amazing. And you see the ball placement? A lot of people were saying if that was Daniel Jones, that ball would have been out of bounds. And I kind of agree. Daniel Jones kind of be playing it a little bit too safe. Great throw by Tommy DeVito. Corey Pate said the moxie quarterback is what this team and New York needs. I don't want an Eli, calm and collected type. Yeah, I think we were lucky to get an Eli Manning on this team. And, not having I'd say like the personality that you would expect in a quarterback in New York, right? Went up to that podium, kept it pretty chill. You didn't see him kind of show his emotions on the field that much. But I think the reason why you never saw, like, going back to that instance that, let me make sure. I want to make sure who said that I believe that was Brian. Yeah, that Brian said, right, about Tommy DeVito, like, holding his players accountable at the snap and whatnot and, like, getting a little angry. I think Eli Manning, like, used practice to make sure that his players were prepared. Like, I never saw Eli really yell at nobody. And I think that they all wanted to go out there and really, like, represent for Eli Manning. So they did that. And there was really never really much. There were not many instances where Eli had to yell at his players too much. If anything, they had to yell at him because Eli definitely had some games where, throwing 2 interceptions, 3 interceptions out there. Game ends on a pick from Eli. But I just love that from Eli because he was never scared to lose. I love that. I don't want players with energy that are scared to lose. Let me see. Big Dog Status said, we need a quarterback that can match Dable's energy. That's facts. Yeah, that's facts. I'm reading I Am Jarrell's one, too. He says DJ would have thrown that pass on the wheel route. Would have or wouldn't have? I don't know which one you mean. I think, yeah, I wouldn't say Daniel Jones wouldn't or would on that. But that was a tight window throw. Definitely was a tight window throw. Yeah, Eli was a mouth breather for sure, Benny. That's a fact. Yeah, but Eli handled business. That's what matters most, man. Got them 2 rings. He was a baller, man, and he was a Manning. You know what you're going to get out of a Manning. There's people out here that are still saying, like, yo, wait till Archie Manning comes out. The kid ain't even played, like, no college ball. That's how invested Giants fans are in the Eli Manning or the Manning brand. Yeah, and I am Jarrell corrected. He said he wouldn't, that Daniel Jones wouldn't have. Yep. Tommy Football in the building. What's going on, dog? Tommy Football said, I hope Tommy DeVito doesn't steal my name. I'm out there balling like Manziel. Yo, I already saw people calling him Tommy Football, so that's going to be a thing. If he continues to play, they're going to keep calling him Tommy Football. I saw Tommy Salami. I thought that was pretty crazy, too. But, yeah, he's going to get that Tommy Football name. DeVito reminds me of Baker Mayfield as far as his attitude in the game goes. I feel you. Maybe a little less hot. Player comp, I think Sam Howell reminds me of Baker Mayfield a lot. They play the game very similar, but the moxie portion of it, I think all three of those quarterbacks got a little moxie. Tommy DeVito, Baker Mayfield, and Sam Howell in Washington. Tony Brownhart says, glad I could pull up. I usually miss the lives. I was surprised when I saw the score. I honestly forgot we were even playing. Anyway, good dub. And have a good day, y'all. Appreciate you pulling up, Tony, man. You know, when you get the chance, that's awesome for you to be able to pull up and rock out with the stream. It's so many people because, like, the views definitely don't align with the amount of people that we see in the streams on a given basis on these giant overreactions. So I know a lot of y'all don't get to catch these live. And when y'all pull up and, you know, express y'all gratitude for these kind of streams, when you can catch them, man, I definitely appreciate that, man. It's very enjoyable getting to rock out with y'all on these Monday afternoons, doing these giant overreactions now for, I want to say 2 straight years we've been doing these. And now 5 straight seasons we've been doing the Authentic and the Beard Show. So big salute to all of y'all. Let me see what Knicks Nation said. Knicks Nation in the building. He said, sure up that right tackle, get a guard in free agency, and I think Penix would be great for us. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be mad at that. I definitely wouldn't be mad at that. Yeah, yo, I am Jarrell. That was literally nuts, yo. Major pause on that. That's a fact, man. Yeah, but we'll see, man. Next week, we got the Patriots. It's going to be a interesting little batch of games coming up here with the Packers, the Saints coming up after that. These are 3 winnable games for the New York Giants, man. And let's say you go out here and you go 3-0, be sitting at 6 wins. You could kind of salvage what there was for the season and whatnot. Yeah, yo, that's a fact right there. That's definitely a fact. It definitely sounds like a porn name. That's facts. But we'll see what the Giants do, man. You know, we're going to be back here tomorrow. Talking about the NFC East recap, man. It's going to be a fun time. I got to actually catch up on some of these games because I missed the 1 o'clock window. So I definitely want to go back, watch the games, you know, especially that Cowboys game in its entirety. I saw in the first half, it was kind of close, you know, throughout the first half. And then the Cowboys just pulled away in the second half of that game. But, man, big salute to all of y'all, man. I appreciate y'all rocking out with me, spending over 2 hours on your Monday afternoon. I hope for those of y'all that had to go to work today, man, that the work day is going by speedy. You know, there was somebody who left a comment on our last stream, and he was like, Authentic, man, these giant overreactions, man, they really get me through my work day, man. And it took me back because, y'all, I haven't had like a 9-to-5 job since probably like a real 9-to-5, like since 2007. So, like, I've been going over, you know, 15 years now, about 15 years without having to work a 9-to-5. And I do remember, like, having to, like, burn time at a job that I just was not invested in, you know. And then in 2009, I started working at a recording studio, and I don't look at those days as like real work. I wasn't even there full time either. I was only there at that studio part time, working from 12 to 8 Monday through Thursday, and getting to do what I love, you know, record music on a daily basis. And this dude was like, man, like, you really get me through these streams. He was like, the longer the streams, the better, because it just makes the day go by faster, man. So, like, I appreciate those kind of people, and I appreciate all of y'all who, like, the familiar names that I see in these chats, like, on a daily giant overreaction stream, yo. That it definitely means the world to me. Win or lose with the Giants, if I could pull up and have a, you know, a large amount of people sitting here watching my streams, I'm all for that, man. And my homie Ethan, he's a Commanders fan, but he always said something. We used to do a lot of music together, and we did a lot of shows together, and he had this rule that was 2 or 2 million, 8 to 88. And that 2 or 2 million was whether it's 2 people in the crowd or 2 million in the crowd, you got to go out there and handle business. And whether the people are 8 years old or 88 years old, you got to go out there and handle business. So I try to do that all the time. Salute to all of y'all. Gregory, I see the kind words. I definitely appreciate that. Alvaro, I appreciate that. Alfredo, I definitely appreciate that. And, man, if I can help y'all get through a work day, I'm all for it, man, because I'm fortunate enough to be able to have a lot of free time on my hands, man, and be able to still get shit done. And, you know, I wouldn't be spending this time doing nothing else. I'm glad that the Beard came up with the idea to, you know, start this podcast. And when we started this podcast, it was me, the Beard, and like 4 or 5 other friends. And now it's just me and the Beard. And I think that like we were the foundation of it anyway when we started it. And to be doing this with my brother, man, my best homie, my brother from another mother, it don't get no better, man. So I got to thank him for that. And I got to thank all of y'all for showing up week in and week out and being dedicated to what we do. I try to come out here and give y'all the best possible product I can possibly give y'all on a weekend or a daily basis. And with these Bleacher Report streams, I've been streaming like 6 days a week, man. So make sure y'all check those out. We're going to be here tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll be on Bleacher Report on Wednesday. Create an account, man. Pull up, show out, represent with y'all opinion, because y'all know as a unit here, we kind of came to have some like-minded opinions. And when I get on these Bleacher Reports, they not quite caught up on what's good right now. So I'm going to need y'all to kind of come in there and represent, help me out, make a Bleacher Report account, follow your boy Awthentik, man. And until the next show, man, y'all know what it is. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams, because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT Combat Jack. And that's a wrap, y'all. Enjoy this Victory Monday. Y'all be good. Peace.
Spike don't care.